Good Tuesday morning. It's the main event. I'm your humble host, Stephen McCollum, and 17-year NFL veteran Dale Hellestray. Well, off again today. Be back on Thursday here, hopefully. Off on his 1980 graduating class reunion tour. Taking on Palm Springs here these last 3 days, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Attacking those Palm Spring golf courses out there with him and the class of 1980 and his buddies that they're over there with. He'll be back later on. But Bruce Cooper joins us today. He'll be in here in just a little bit. Of course, we'll discuss, end of the Sun season. Unfortunately, not a shocker that the swept happened. We knew it was coming. They just don't have the manpower to compete with the Thunder. Most teams don't. We'll break that down with Bruce, of course. Diamondbacks getting it away in Milwaukee. We'll get Bruce's thoughts on the Diamondbacks in Mexico and what happened down there in Mexico City. Then, of course, Cardinals draft follow-up here as well. Bruce Cooper and I were texting all through the draft over the weekend. We'll get his final thoughts on the Cardinals and what they did and his take on Carson Beck. I'll tell you this. You guys heard my take on Carson Beck yesterday. I'll present it to him today as well. But then also, he wasn't too happy about the Carson Beck pick. We'll find out why, what he's thinking about that side, and we'll see him laugh at me, of course, on my take on Carson Beck of what possibly could happen from that side as well. Appreciate you joining us here on this Tuesday morning, as always. If you catch us right now, Robat TV live, of course, on demand. Later on, Robat TV. Follow us, TME Media AZ on YouTube as well, if you would. As there you go. My computer just decides to hear my voice. Just is like, you're not talking enough. We want you to talk some more and have multiple voices, but I got that shut up for you. Of course, we're on Rumble as well, rumble.com/user/TME Media. Follow the TME Media AZ on X as well for us. That's our parent company. Just get you what we do around here, updates on the show programmings and things to that effect. So Papa Mike chimed in yesterday. He said he was able to finish the replay. And he says, good job, Steven. He tuned in late yesterday and had to go back and watch the replay as well. And thank you. You know, it's fun. It's fun doing a show. I did this show by myself for a lot of years, of course, on the radio. I mean, I had help with the producers, right? Jason Carter, Izzy, of course. Lots of help with them. But it's kind of fun to come back in here and just, do a show by myself every once in a while. But he says, now that the draft has ended, do you think the Cardinals are in a better position with the players they have at this point? He says, or did they just look better on paper last year? He says, just players, not coaches. It's interesting you bring that up. We'll get Bruce's take on this. But Monty Ossenford, in his final press conference after the draft ended, said he believes this team right now is better on paper than it was before. I don't agree with that necessarily, to be honest with you. I think last year on paper they were better with the talent they had on this team. This year, I mean, are they headed in the right direction? Yes. I don't think there's any dispute on that. But in terms of this team, I think the defense is maybe taking a step back this year on paper. But look, you can go down, I guess, if you only have 3 wins. But the chances are you're going to go up from this perspective. So, no, I don't necessarily think on paper they're better talent-wise than they were last year. But I could be, just a little begrudgingly a little bit. On the coaching staff, I think they're 300 times better than they were last year going in for a lot of reasons on that side as well. So Bruce Cooper will be joining us here shortly. Have some fun talking with him on all that. Diamondbacks go back to Milwaukee, 4:40 p.m. start date today. Interesting thing on this. As of right now, let me refresh it to make sure. As of right now, dbacks.com is what I'm looking at here for today's game. They say the D-backs pitcher, TBD, as of right now, is what they are saying. So I'm switching over right now to Major League Baseball. ESPN. Let's start with ESPN first here as well. Today is Tuesday, April 28th. Your Arizona Diamondbacks go to Milwaukee. They have Merrill Kelly as the starter listed there. Why does the D-backs page not have Merrill Kelly starting? Because he should be starting. I missed if it put me in this big thing where I was frantically searching this morning, going, "Did something happen? Did I miss something? Did I miss something?" Maybe the Diamondbacks media guy just slept in a little bit. It's not just today, folks. It's the next 4 games. Also, all TBD on the Diamondback site. What's happening? Did their IT guy just sleep in a little bit? I mean, they updated the Milwaukee ones. Probably nothing, but you know us here, we like to panic a little bit. What's happening? What's happening with the Diamondbacks right now? So it's supposed to be Kelly today. We'll have to see what comes up. We know their rotation going forward and things to that. Now, obviously off day yesterday, 2 games over the weekend, off day Friday. So they've had some time off. Are they going to make some changes and move stuff around? Kind of the question that we're looking forward to right now. Let me do this because ESPN has Merrill Kelly starting. Diamondbacks page has nobody going today. Right now, I'm going to. And then we have another thing going around Major League Baseball that some changes are happening around Major League Baseball. It is kind of interesting to see it happen out there. We'll talk about that here in just a second. But today's Tuesday. Let's get up here to the game here coming up. Arizona at Milwaukee. Yeah, TBD on MLB.com as well. Who's the Diamondback starter today, folks? Is things getting changed around? What's happening? What is going on? The other thing around Major League Baseball, of course, we'll get into the Diamondback specific talk here when Bruce comes in, but 2 things are happening here, right? We saw last week the Red Sox over the weekend. The Red Sox let 5 of their coaching staff go, including their manager, Alex Cora. Let go. Boom. Disappointing start to the season. They score 17 runs and get fired pretty much immediately after that. But disappointing start to the season for them. Philadelphia, huge payroll. Failing, can't make the World Series, losing the playoffs, etc. Struggling a little bit to start the season. Well, as of this morning, they've fired their manager, Rob Thompson, as well. He leaves. He gets fired. He has the highest winning percentage of any manager in the Phillies' history in the modern era, which, by the way, goes back to the 1900s. Yeah. He's the second manager in Phillies' history to guide the team to 4 consecutive postseason appearances. Now they're 9-19 to start this season. Hasn't been a good start to the season. So you saw the Red Sox pull the trigger. Now you've seen the Phillies pull the trigger as well. Doesn't that kind of just make you wonder, what's going on with the Mets? What's going on with some of these other teams out there where they're coming out and struggling as well? Phillies, of course, lost 10 games in a row. Mets lost, 12 in a row? They kept their staff in place and stuff to that effect as well. Let's see here. Don Mattingly has been named the interim manager as well this morning around baseball. So you're starting to see disappointing starts around Major League Baseball. You're starting to see some owners pull some triggers as well going on that route. Because now we have 2 coaching positions that have opened up early in the season as well. And the Mets just sit there and hang out. Nothing going on. Everything's just out there. Hunky-dory in Mets land. The Phillies they're not looking for a new manager. Don Mattingly stepping into that role. By the way, I read a stat over the weekend with the Red Sox changes. And the stat, and I'm going to paraphrase it here because I don't have it in front of me. So if I'm a little bit off, don't yell at me. I think only 1 interim manager has finished this season good. Interim managers generally don't work out in Major League Baseball. Your team doesn't get exponentially better. Now, it's going to be tested because there's a lot of talent on the Red Sox. There's a lot of talent on the Phillies. Don Mattingly obviously has been a respected manager, a good manager over the years. Can he get this team turned around? So it's going to be tested here as well. But generally, interim managers don't do well around Major League Baseball. When they get called up there as interim managers. So interesting. Texas 623, 602 252 6670. Hit us up on the text line. I'm sorry, it is 623. Holy cow, my brain, folks. 623 252 6670. Hit us up, of course, on X, TME Sports Show. And for those of you that follow us at TME Media AZ on YouTube, well, you'll see this new feature that we're testing out. We're doing a bunch of testing around the programming right now here on the main event. And pit stops coming up later today. We're going to do that early this week instead of on Wednesday. Because programming note, tomorrow, we will be here tomorrow. At least I will be. Dale will be off. We're coming into a McCollum on business at 7 o'clock, and we are going to do the main event tomorrow. But we're going to be ending the show early tomorrow. It's going to be about an hour-long show. I'll be here till at least 9 o'clock. I have to get to, it's my senior kid, 18-year-old Ethan. You guys know Ethan. He's been interned here and has worked here over the last year or so, off and on, while he's been out of school. Well, he graduates here coming up May 21st, and tomorrow's ROTC Awards Day and things to that effect over at the campus. It starts at 10:30. So I've got to get across town and get there, obviously. But I'm coming in, spend the morning with you instead of taking it off. I don't need any awards, but thank you. Thank you for that award. Thank you. Flowers for me. In all seriousness, folks, I know I'm being sarcastic here, but I will be here tomorrow. We're just going to have to end the show a little bit early as well. So come and join me, of course. We'll talk a lot here in that hour and fill you in on what's happening in the sports world out there. But so just a little programming note for tomorrow. But I appreciate you joining us, whether we're an hour, 2 hours long, etc. Be great to see. And then the rest of the week is normal. Dale will be in early on Thursday before he goes and does his hit over there with John Holmberg in the morning, Holmberg's morning sickness. And then, of course, Uncle Lou comes in at Thursday as well. Right in the middle of the hockey playoffs. Woo-wee. If you're not watching that Utah Knights series, that's turned into a doozy. Last night, Knights came out first quarter, dominated it, up 2-0. Looked like they were the team, and they went up 3-0. They looked like they were just destined to win that game and dominate that. Robert says, "Don't tear your rotator." It's sometimes it's hard to accept all those awards, Robert. There's going to be people out there that are going to be like, "That guy's such an egomaniac," not realizing I'm joking. Yeah. But that night series, man, then Utah Mammoth came back. Game goes into overtime, 4-4. Knights get the win, tied up series again. Look, I didn't give the Mammoth a lot of chance in that series, and boy, was I wrong. They are there. They are competing. And whoever wins this series has a chance to go at least to the conference finals here coming up and play Colorado here on that side. This is going to be interesting to see if the Mammoth are able to escape Vegas coming up as well. It's going to be kind of an interesting thing to keep our eyes on moving forward. I'm just giggling because of how many people are like, "Oh my God, he's an egomaniac, thanking us for coming, look, asking for awards because he's going to come in and work for an hour." It's a joke, folks. Take a deep breath. Hey, other news out there, just nationally that we should talk. Well, I tell you what, let's stay with baseball here for a second. I told you guys before, I used to be a staunch error by umpires and officials in sports. I've always said are part of the game. Human error comes in. What bothers me about officials, umpires, game officials, etc., what bothers me is they don't have to go in front of the media. They can be hidden with their mistakes. Whereas players in the heat of the moment make mistakes. They got to go to a microphone and explain it. Coaches with their mistakes or what their thought process is has to go to the microphone and own it in the moment. Referees just get a hide, and umpires just get a hide there. Now, Steve, there's a pool report. The pool report is the biggest joke on the planet. They have time to sit down, review things, give a professional response to it. One reporter's peppering questions at them. Limited question, and there can be no follow-up, by the way, in the pool reports. Meaning you can't you can clarify stuff, but you can't keep digging at it, things to that effect. It drives me nuts. What has happened over the years with some of those NFL calls, like against the Saints, where the Saints receiver just got mugged. Like if that was anywhere else, if that was in a nightclub, somebody's going to jail, for the night and sleeping it off type of a deal. But the referees, they're allowed to do it. They're allowed to do it. It affects the end of the games, etc. Drives me nuts. Then in baseball, just the bad calls and just the "I'm the umpire, I control everything" attitude of some of these guys drives me nuts now. We're talking about C.B. Buckner, right? Joe West back in the day. The other gentleman that has been kicked out of baseball for a few years now, and I just completely forgot his name, because who cares? He's gone from our lives. Joe West, of course, has since retired, but C.B. Buckner, there's a couple other ones out there that drive me nuts. I've been telling you guys here on this program, especially last week on Friday, about Mason Miller. If the Diamondbacks get to Mason Miller, they have zero chance to win a game. That's generally the rule with Mason Miller. Comes on the mound for the Padres, the closer. And he's one of those just dominant closers. He's fun to watch. I love dominant closers in baseball. And it's not fair to Paul Sewald, but that's kind of what I hold and he's the best at it, Miller is. But there's other ones out there that are dominant and do well. Now, they're not Mason Miller dominant, but they're dominant, throw a ball hard, come in just with blaring music. Mason Miller comes in with corn. It's just an amazing deal. And then there's Paul Sewald. I'm going to throw 93. Right? And he does it. He gets the job done, or at least he has so far this year, right? It's Paul Sewald. But I like that dominant closer, and that's kind of what I hold him up to and stuff to that effect. Mason Miller ended up losing his 34 2/3 of an inning scoreless streak last night. Now, we didn't lose it specifically because of the play I'm about to show you. But this was the guy that got on that eventually scored. And it's the most egregious call you have ever seen in your life. You know what I'm talking about? If you don't, here it is. Mason Miller comes into this game. Now, it's not a one-run game or anything to that effect, but, he's got to go out there. And this is the run that eventually scores in the inning. He might have lost it anyway, but this sets off that inning. But for an umpire to egregiously now this is like a 1.5-minute long clip. The reason why I'm going to let it play, I might ask Kobe to turn the sound down, because the replays continue to show how terrible this umpire was in this situation last night. Bring on the robot umpires. Bring on the checks and balances. It's obvious umpires as a whole cannot do their jobs properly. It is clear as day. Let's go to the tape. Mason Miller last night.
Slowly rolled towards third base. Ty France is going to let it roll. And it's a fair ball. France thought it went foul, and he was standing right over it.
It's not reviewable, unfortunately.
No, not reviewable
but
either.
it did look like it was on the foul side. How is that fair? Wow. Stan may get rung here. This ball is clearly foul.
And there's no doubt about it. If it's touching the line, it's a fair ball. Look at that umpire's ears. You think his honing devices would be pretty accurate.
Third base umpire. Give him that. Maybe he'll overturn it.
I'm just letting it play, like I said, 1.5 minutes here, but we're letting it play because look at these replays. You can't review this, folks. Egregious call by that umpire, and he just doesn't care. By the way, thanks for the Padres for this, Brand. He's standing right there. He's not a mile away, and it's his call in front of the base.
Right there, standing over the ball.
He's literally right there.
So the Cubs will get
Look at this.
12 men on.
Unbelievable. We're just going to keep showing how stupid this umpire is from the start. This umpire should be embarrassed. This umpire's family should be embarrassed. The umpire's grandchildren that might not even exist yet will be embarrassed about this guy. That's just stupid. Bring on in all seriousness, bring on the robot umpires. Bring them on now. There's got to be a way to correct just obviously wrong calls. And that is as blatant gets if that's a foul ball, folks. Is it touching the line at all? We showed you that NHL play where Edmonton fans are losing their mind over. And the umpires were out of place there and stuff like that. But it was obviously a goal in the NHL 2 nights ago. We showed you that play. They called it right on the ice. Took them a little bit. Called it right on the ice, and they got it right. They went to replay, determined it. You can't even replay that. Why can you not have somebody, even that third base umpire that's also standing there, even though it's not his job, look at the home base umpire and be like, give him that look like, How can that not be overruled? That is an egregious mistake. Bring on. I'm telling you, I used to be staunch anti, because, hey, right? Issues happen. You know what? Those umpires didn't have to go in front of the media and talk about it. I mean, they would have had to widen the doors with that guy's ears. He would have had to fold them in to get in there. I know, I'm going stupid with attacking the guy physically for this, but he did have big ears. You think like a bat, he would have been able to hone in on that. I know, I'm being stupid right now with the ear thing. Yeah, Robert says the third base umpire has no cojones either. Yeah. They went and talked to him, and he was like, didn't overrule it. Overrule it. It is obvious as day. Robot umpires cannot get here quick enough. The egos need to go away. The blindness needs to go away. Now, if that umpire would have dilly-dallied down the line and been out of position, we can blame him for that, but it'd be like, oh, he was out of position. He missed it. He was standing right where he needs to be. Drives me nuts, folks. Now, that, like I said, though, that's not the reason Mason Miller lost his 34 2/3 of an inning scoreless streak. He still had a pitch with the guy on first, and he still had to get out of the inning. Gives up a couple runs, so that streak ends. Robert also says, I would have lost my mind and more than likely got ejected. That's the other side of it. Padres manager, man. You come out with your arms flailing. You drink a ton of water before you go out, so you just got spittle everywhere. You lose your mind. You go over to that spot, you start kicking the dirt. Mason Miller's in. It's the ninth inning. Like, just go prove your point on what an idiot that umpire is. You bring the third base umpire into it, who is also standing there. So when they come to protect their home plate guy, because we got to protect the umpire from getting yelled at too long when he screws up. We got to protect him. He's getting yelled at. He's going to feel bad about himself. When he comes in there, then you know what? You step in. You start attacking that third base umpire with your voice. Start yelling at that guy and how he's got no balls to make that call. That's what I would do if I was the Padres, man. Especially ninth inning. Yeah, who cares? The thing that bothers me the most about this is they just don't have to go talk about it. I'm sure there's some pool report out there. Oh, I saw it on the line. No, you didn't, you moron. You didn't. You're making it up then if you did. You shouldn't be an umpire if you saw it on the line because everybody else saw it not on the line. So no matter what he says there, he's just lying. He should not be a Major League Baseball umpire at that point. I'd have more respect for him if he goes, I saw it as fair. I went to the third base umpire, and he said he saw it as fair. So that's what we called it on the field. Replay says otherwise, and that's fine. That's how we saw it on the field, and we stuck with our. I'd have respect for somebody doing that. But we have to protect these giant babies. We have to protect these guys. Don't be mean to the umpires when they miss obvious calls. They're just humans. Yeah, humans that shouldn't be making those calls anymore. Literally, if we can get it to where you challenge a pitch, boop, boop. Umpire takes his mask off, turns around, presses the button, turns around and stands there for 1 second, turns back around and goes, that was no strike. You mean to tell me that there's no system that somebody upstairs can't push on that button? We'll call it the jackass button is what we'll call it. And that guy upstairs presses the jackass button, bloop, and that umpire feels a little, moves a little bit because it startles him so much. And it's basically telling him you got it wrong. Clown, call it right. You mean to tell me we don't have that ability in 2026? We do have that ability. You know why we don't have it? Umpires don't like being challenged. Yeah. Anyway, Mason Miller, 34 2/3 in the streak. That umpire did have big ears. I mean, that was ridiculous. He took that mask off, man, and it was like, woof. I know. Write in your stories about how I'm being mean to the guys with big ears. Hey, if you have big ears, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not making bad calls like the umpire is. Yeah. Calling it the jackass button, Papa Mike. That's what we're calling it. Yeah, jackass for making that call is what we're going out there. So anyway, Mason Miller, streak ends. Whatever. Drives me nuts. It's just when you are so adamant and you do things so wrong to where you make me change my mind to not want you there anymore, that says you done messing up. You gone messing up. Got to fix it. That'll be the next step. The next step will be umpires will literally, you'll hear, you see some minor league parks, you'll hear the beep on if it's a ball or strike, and then the umpire calls it. It's kind of what we're going towards. We need it. That is egregious last night. It's just embarrassing to see. Other sports things out there I want to touch on here as well. Robert says, does the NHL reseed in the playoffs? No, they do not. There was a time they did. I want to say since like 2015, 2010. That was later than 2010. You know what? Let me look it up here. Let me get the facts straight. But they do not reseed. It's a bracketed matchup now is what they do in the NHL. Okay. 2013, 2014 is when that division-based bracket came out. So no reseeding at that point. Famously, if you remember, right, the Kings, I think it was an 8 seed going into the playoffs. They ended up winning the Stanley Cup. But I'm pretty sure that was the year where they kept getting reseeded because, the 8 seed obviously wins and goes on. They got reseeded and stuff like that. So the whole point behind this, of course, and you're going to see that in the next round if Minnesota and Dallas, it keeps those divisional rivalries in the second round. So, like, whoever plays Colorado will be Dallas or Minnesota. Divisional rivalry in the second round of the NHL as well. I've told you before in other sports, I'm not necessarily a big fan of that. I feel like you should play other teams in other divisions and mix it up in the playoffs. Instead of the divisional side, well, they do it differently in the NHL. And actually, I don't mind it in the NHL as much because it's just a different sport as I do like football, basketball, stuff like that. It bothers me more from that perspective. So, it is what it is. Mm-hmm. So, Major League Baseball, we'll get more into that with the Diamondbacks and stuff like that. By the way, biggest surprises and predictions, MLB.com has this. Team with the biggest surprise. Now, this is executives of baseball voting on this stuff, obviously anonymous here. Diamondbacks got a vote as biggest surprise to start their season. I tend to agree with that. They have a over 500 record against team. Now, some teams have failed, like the Phillies. Right? Tigers are down when they played them. Blue Jays are down when they played them. So, if you look at the records, but they're all supposed to be good playoff challenging teams. Diamondbacks have one vote for biggest surprise out there as well. The team that leads it, Pirates, Reds, Twins, and Braves. Everybody else has one. Athletics, Cardinals, D-backs, Guardians, Marlins, National, and Padres have one as well. So 3 Central Division teams, by the way. That Central Division is going to be a juggernaut all year long. Right? Pittsburgh 16-13. Is what they're looking at right now. Who had that? Yeah, I know, right? Is what we're looking at. So So that's what we got in terms of the biggest surprises there. Biggest disappointments. I told you guys it's got to be the Mets. Period. End of story. Mets are the biggest disappointment. Second biggest payroll in baseball. And the executives have it the same. 10 votes for the Mets. Biggest disappointment. Red Sox are second with 3. Phillies 2. Ironic because they both have new managers here today. Phillies, if you missed the news earlier, fired their manager early this morning. Blue Jays and Mariners with 1 vote. They're also disappointing. But the payrolls kind of lead this way, even though the Blue Jays do have a large payroll as well from that side. So there you go. Kind of the thought process that we are dealing with as we've moved on as well. I'm just looking to see as I stroll through this. Yeah, nobody biggest surprise player. Nobody from the Diamondbacks, even though they probably have a couple candidates for that, they are not there. Really quick in terms of the golf world out there is in what we've kind of talked about. We talked about Live Golf, and I told you guys when the rumors were out there, I told you they will be shutting down. Now, that's not necessarily the case, but we now know the funding from the Saudi League funding, the PIF. We know that funding is going away after 2026. I told you at that time, they're going to struggle throughout the rest of this year in terms of their funding. You're going to see things kind of go away. For instance, the Mexico City tournament a couple weeks ago. They didn't have a press office that they traditionally had. Things to that effect. It wasn't manned till later in the week. It was severely cut down and stuff to that effect. You're going to see more and more of that happen. A lot of the excess around the Live Golf Tour was due to the PIF funding, including signing these players, etc., and things like that. News came out yesterday that Live Golf, they have a scheduled tournament in New Orleans. It was going to be the inaugural tournament in New Orleans coming up in June. Has anybody been to Louisiana in June? It's pretty miserable. It's miserable. Hot, humid, ridiculous. Well, now they're postponing that tournament in June in New Orleans as well. They're looking, of course, to replace the funding. They're not going to be able to replace all of the PIF's funding, obviously. They're looking for sponsors. Their ratings say sponsorships are going to be hard. You'll get sponsors. You're not going to get it in dollar amounts that you need it at to compete, to replace the PIF. You're going to have more sponsors, less dollar amounts to get there and stuff to that effect as well. Yeah. So it's going to be paid June 25th to the 28th there in Louisiana. There. We are waiting for a statement to come out today. They're going to spin this beyond belief. Here's the problem that the Live's going to have for the rest of this year. By the way, their fall schedule, they have the World Cup coming up here in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Nobody's going to pay attention to you during the World Cup. Very few people. Your ratings are already in the toilet. Nobody's going to be going to your events if you have World Cup on. You're going to have less option of people going to those events and stuff like that. The problem that the Live has, and why I predicted they're going to struggle throughout the rest of this year and miss tournaments or scale back their tournaments, etc. People are going to be wanting their money up front. If I was a vendor of, let's say, putting, boxes up, suites and things up, yeah, you're going to pay me up front for this. What you're going to do if you want these boxes done. There's no IOU here. Because if you shut down, I'm out my money. You need to pay me up front. If you're a food vendor, for instance, at a Live Golf tournament, I'm going to need a prepayment on all that food amount, please. You can't trust them to pay you after the fact. They know they're going out of business. They know their funding's not going to be there. Ain't worth it to you. Especially if you're a smaller company, right? And you're a company that specializes in that. Live Golf's going to have to front more money up front here for these tournaments to start. Funding dries up pretty quickly. Available money dries up pretty quickly if you got to front load things. That's going to be Live Golf's problem for the rest of this year. And in the next year. Golf courses, by the way, gets payments for the tournaments being there. or they paid to the Live Golf to do it and stuff to that effect. Lot of money is going to be cautionary asked for ahead of schedule. That's what's going to mess Live up for the rest of this year from the business perspective side of things. It came out that we're waiting for a statement officially on this, but we know the cat tournament's going to be canceled. There's been multiple entities have said it and stuff like that. Louisiana Economic Development Secretary came out and she said she had pressed Live Golf officials for a decision over the past couple weeks on if they're playing this tournament or not. So once the rumor started, it's been 2 weeks since the rumor started. And they've been going, are you guys going to be around for this tournament? Are you guys going to be around? Do we keep advertising for this tournament? Do we continue to put money into this Live tournament? Are you going to be available and around in June for this tournament? Are you doing this Live tournament? And Liv wouldn't answer, and wouldn't answer, and wouldn't answer. Yeah. Couple weeks now, every tournament site for Live Golf is doing this right now. What's the status of our tournament? Are we pumping all this money into it? Are we putting up structures for the suites and everything? Are we scheduling off-duty police officers to run security, etc., getting into the tournament for parking, etc.? Or are we not doing it? Just save money, so we don't spend that money if you're not coming. Every tournament on the tour is doing this. And I'm willing to bet you every tournament on the tour, if they say the tournament is a go, which they're going to dance around that question a little bit, every tournament on the tour is going to say, we need some money up front. That's going to hurt the cash flow of this entity. They say it's fully funded through 2026. There's questions around that. What does fully funded mean? The payment's already been given to them? Have they blown through that money? Right? Something to keep in mind going forward as well. So, sources around Live Golf operation confirmed the league has been working with Louisiana Governor Office, along with that Louisiana Economic Development Agency as well, because they want to have a new date in the fall. They want to move the tournament. Okay. They say Live Golf wants to avoid the peak summer heat. I'm sorry. I haven't been to Louisiana in probably 10, 15 years now. Probably 15, 20 if I had to guess. Time flies, right? I haven't been to Louisiana in that time frame. Is it news that middle of June in Louisiana is hot? Is this a recent development? No. I've had the pleasure of being there in January, and I've had the pleasure of being there in July. It's not news that it's hot there. That's your excuse you're going with right now? We want to avoid peak summer heat. Then why'd you book it in June? End of June. Why? They also say they want to ensure the course is in championship caliber condition, which if you saw the Mexico City tour a couple weeks ago, they were hitting off of dirt if they weren't on the fairways, etc. But then they also said they don't want to conflict with the World Cup. Again, same situation here, end of June. Why did you book this tournament at end of June? Did you not know the World Cup was going to be this summer? Did FIFA just announce the World Cup was happening this summer and it surprised everybody? Or have we known about it for 4 to 6 to 8 to 10 years, however long it's been? We've known about it for a while. Those are the excuses they're running with, folks, to cancel this tournament. They're saying all the excuses except for the one that matters. Funding. Funding's the problem. They won't admit that, but they'll blame all these other entities out there as well. Yeah. Their whole future remains on status. This is what's going to kill Live Golf more than anything. Sponsors. Whoever their sponsors are. I don't even know. Their sponsors. Oh, hey, sponsor, your next payment's due. Do we even have a golf tournament right now? We have no golf tournaments in June coming up. Why am I making my June payment if we have no tournaments for my sponsorship to be played at? Why? You start to see sponsors play that game with money they owe the Live Golf. Things to that effect of, there's no tournaments in June. There was when I signed this deal. We need to talk about repayment planning is here. We'll be more than happy to pay you in July if tournaments kick off. This is the problem that Live is going to have. Do the math here. Live has invested $5 billion since 2022 when they started. Live is the PIF is spending $100 million per month if you do the math over the last 3 years. How do you duplicate that money with sponsorships and everything when you don't have them on board already? Astronomical money. They're not going to be able to do that. Live Golf is in serious trouble, folks. Then becomes, what do you do with the PGA golfers, right? Jon Rahm and those guys. What do you do with them? Do they just stop playing? Do they get a move over, et cetera, type of a thing? Live Golf is an interesting tale here. Cautionary tale. I actually consider it kind of like the NIL in college. And we're going to talk about Texas Tech quarterback here coming up. But I kind of lean toward that a little bit on what this Live Golf cautionary tale becomes. Yeah, the money's great. Are they going to be around in a year or two? What's your options if it's not there? I once had a friend that left a high-paying job and moved to another company for a lot higher-paying job. And it was a company that has had some issues in the past. Let's put it that way. Questionable issues, stuff like that. And I told him, I said, hey, man, I understand taking the money. What's your exit strategy on the other side if they go out of business and you no longer have a job? What's your exit strategy if 2 years from now, when the project you're going to go work on finishes and you're making all this money, what's your next strategy there moving forward? Sure enough, 2 years later, out of a job. Company folds. Project ends, dwindles down, everybody gets laid off, company folds, and they go on. And he's sitting out there. He had an exit strategy. He had an idea of what to do, and it worked out for him. But it's because he had the planned strategy. How do these Live golfers, how have they planned for this change coming up? It's going to be fascinating to watch this coming up as well, is what we're talking about as well. No live events, by the way. I said just June. It's pretty much June and July. June 7th through July 23rd, no Live tournaments. If you're a sponsor, I don't know what sponsors are on Live. I don't know. I don't care. I don't even know PGA sponsors other than Timex and what is it, Cadillac, Oldsmobile, whatever it is. I don't even know that. Look at me go. Buick. It's Buick. Geez, Steve. These, you're looking for a payment. You're not sure this entity is going to be around after July 23rd. Oh, you want my June and July payment? No tournaments going on? Quickest way to ruin your cash flow, folks, on the Live Tour. When we come back here, some other things to hit on as Bruce Cooper is going to be joining us coming up as well here when he gets here. And we'll talk, of course, all the local stuff with Bruce. Come back and join me, would you? The main event. right, welcome back to the main event here on this Tuesday. Look who showed up. Bruce Cooper joins us, of course, as well. Bruce, how you doing, man? Last time we saw you, it was a draft show.
Yeah.
Did you moonwalk home that night? Cartwheels? What was the deal after Jeremiah left?
I was able to fly the friendly skies on my wings only, on my wings. Yeah, but that high has come to a complete halt based on what I saw last night, or basically throughout this whole series, really.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was okay. You're talking about the Suns here, but just so everybody knows, that'll be our first topic here. Obviously, the topic of the day. It's no surprise they lost to the Thunder and got swept, is it?
It's not a surprise. What's a disappointment is Phoenix Suns head coach Jordan Ott showed me absolutely zero in his ability to adjust. Look, let me ask you.
He did that most of the year, though. If to be fair, it's not a new thing.
Well, it's egregious when you're in a series. It's really egregious when you're in a series.
Yeah.
All right, now look, we saw it in the Portland play-in game.
Mm-hmm.
You had Denny Avia just score at will in the paint. All right, now the Suns were able to beat Golden State because Golden State really doesn't have that type of player, either a big or a guy that penetrates the paint like that. They're a perimeter shooting team, a three-point shooting team for the most part. All right, so now we get to the Oklahoma City Thunder series. I don't know. I'd have to go research it and figure it out. But how many times did you see Shai Gilgeous-Alexander score in the paint? How many times did you see either Hartenstein or Holmgren in the paint against a 6'3", 6'4" guard? It is just unconscionable for me to see that every game Daigneault runs out his starting lineup. We know what it is. It's 2 7-footers.
Yes.
What do the Suns do when they counter? They play 4 guards and Oso Ighodaro, who is no rim protector, who's more of a power forward body.
But to be fair, they don't have that player, Bruce.
Yes, they do. They could.
He's injured.
Excuse me.
He has a foot injury.
Excuse me. They could play Rasheer Fleming and they can play Malawat. And here's the deal.
No, we don't do that.
No, call me crazy. But in a 4-game series, when they're throwing out 2 bigs and constantly beating your behind, not only with the bigs, but in the paint, because the guards, anybody can penetrate. There's no rim protection. Let me ask you this. Did Jordan Ott ever think, well, let me see if I can play Malawak and Oso Ighodaro together? Or maybe I can play Malawak and Rasheer Fleming together. Or how about Rasheer Fleming and Oso Ighodaro together? I mean, at some point, I thought I'd at least see that. They didn't play Rasheer Fleming any significant minutes, because keep in mind he scored
last night.
He scored 9 points in game 1, but it was garbage. Suns are down by 40, so he was 3 for 3 for threes. In games 2 and 3, they lose, so he goes in the final minute of play. Finally, in game 4 last night, they stick him in the third quarter. Suns are down, I believe, 14. He blocks a shot
right off the bat.
Suns get a transition hoop. Comes back next series, makes a strip steal that the Suns go and convert again with an and one with Brooks. And so the crowd's going crazy. And so you ask yourself, why did it take 3 3/4 of a games in this 4-game series to put in someone who has some height, who has some length, who has some athleticism? I mean, I just don't get it. And so when he does decide to play Malawat, he brings Oso Ighodaro out. And so this is what Daigneault would do. He says, okay, who you going to guard? I got my 2 bigs in here, Malawat. Okay, you want to try Chet Holmgren? I'm going to bring Chet Holmgren out to the 3-point line. That means you have to come out with him. Now the paint's available for me again. Yeah. If you want to, and so when it's available, I can even hit Hartenstein. I can play that high-low game. I can play that mismatch game. And I'm talking about Jordan Ott. He never adjusted one single time. It drove me freaking crazy.
Yeah, but that's about my whole point, though. I mean, you bring up the point. It's been that way all season, just refusing to play those guys and get them out there and get minutes and stuff to that effect. That's what infuriates me about him. And I was hoping, playing in this series and getting some look, even though they were swept, my hope is Jordan not realize he's one of those coaches that prefers veterans over rookies.
It's clear that's clear. I did not know that. This is the first time I've got to know the guy as a head coach.
I didn't know it either, but it's pretty obvious, right?
Yeah.
Because he just doesn't like rookies.
You're absolutely right, because, I mean, here's Haywood Highsmith, who's getting minutes over Ryan Dunn or over Rasheer Fleming or over Malawak because he brings playoff experience from the Miami Heat. Yeah.
And a veteran player.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it drove me crazy. I mean, look, I don't. Did you catch the regular season finale?
I did not watch that.
Okay,
against the Thunder.
The Suns and the Thunder. Okay, so the Thunder and the Thunder and Suns didn't play their frontline players at all. Yeah. It was all about the reserve. Yep. I'm telling you, Rasheer Fleming, Malawak, Ryan Dunn, they ate them up. Yeah. They were too, and so and I give a lot of credit to Oklahoma City for their prominence and their rise right now, based just on the mere fact of player development. Yes. The only two players, well, I guess it's three because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is one, but Alexander, Hartenstein, and Caruso are the only non-drafted players on that roster. Everyone else was drafted, and they developed them.
They still developed SGA and guys like that.
They did,
weren't drafted
but they didn't draft him. They acquired him.
But they had to develop him into these players.
Sure. So
they didn't show. SGA didn't show up, and SGA wasn't SGA before he got there.
That's very true.
With that's
true.
But that's my argument with Jordan Ott. My frustration. We're going to talk about the season as a whole. Is like even the Grayson Allen situation. I think about that, and they said for game 1, 2, and I think it was 3, we're only going to play him for emergency purposes. Did you see Grayson Allen last night shooting threes over guys, making them, doing all that? What do you mean emergency purposes? This is a playoff round against the best team in the NBA. It doesn't get more emergency purpose than this.
Yeah.
And it's just refusing to play these guys. And now Fleming had 0 points last night, so the argument could be we needed points at that time.
But
he changed the game when he went on the court.
Excuse me. How many minutes did he play?
9 minutes.
Okay. All right. So,
but it felt like more, didn't it? Because he was relevant in the game for those minutes.
Well, here's the deal. Yeah. Sometimes when the Suns made that run and they closed it to 7, all right. Here's a time. This is when throughout the series, Oklahoma City, they would come out and they would score like 5-6 baskets in a row. Yeah, and they do it in the paint. They do it in the paint. I'm telling you, if SGA, and I'm telling you, I don't expect the Lakers to beat Oklahoma City, but I guarantee you, they'll have much more difficult time with the Lakers than the Suns, because here's what they'll do. You can say DeAndre Ayton's a bust or whatever, but him and Jackson Hayes give you size inside. They also have Roy Hachimura. Yeah. They have a very, very strong 41-year-old named LeBron James. You can't bully this guy. And so they will have some type of rim protection, paint protection, and some size. They're bringing size in there. And so even though the Suns have some size and length, it stayed on the bench way too long.
But it's been that way all season. That's where I just get frustrated. Imagine, like, we all think Fleming and Malawak are going to be quality players in this league and get their opportunity. But why not this year, especially when you're struggling at the end? You're not winning this series. And I get it. You can tell me all you want. Well, they were still going to try. You can still throw them out. You saw what Fleming did. Throw him out there earlier, especially when Devin Booker has 2 points.
Yeah. Look. Let put it to you like this. Let's put it to you like this. What do you have to lose? Here's the deal. Malawak and Fleming are going to come back next year. And you know what? When they play, and let's say they're in the rotation, when you get to the postseason, guess what? it's their really first playoff experience because you're putting them in the test.
That's why I wanted to see them this
Do
time.
it now, for crying out loud. Remember when the Suns, Dylan Brooks was out, Mark Williams was out, and
Goodwin was out?
Yeah. They started playing Ryan Dunn, Rasheer Fleming, and Mallory. This is when the Suns fan base became in love with Rasheer Fleming.
Yes.
Because he played well. Ryan Dunn is the type of guy that if he plays consistently, his confidence is up.
Yeah.
When he's sporadic, his confidence is up and down, and he just not the same player.
I could tell you, I don't know if you were on X last night during the game. I was doing some other stuff, and the fan base noticed Fleming immediately, and the fan base was all over Ott.
Oh, really?
During the game. Why isn't Fleming playing more? Why hasn't Fleming played more in this series? Why hasn't Fleming done this? Why hasn't he played Fleming more?
Live during the game?
During the game.
Really?
It was just exploding out there. And that's my first. That's why I wanted them to make the playoffs, even though they're going to get swept in embarrassing fashion, is because Jordan Ott needs to learn these things as well. If you think you just show up in the coaching in the playoffs and all of a sudden you're a good coach, you have to learn how to coach in the playoffs and stuff like that, like players do. So I think that hopefully this is a learning curve for him. When we come back here in our second hour, I do have what Jordan Ott said after the game, one specific clip there as well, and we'll keep going forward. But I just agree with you. I've just learned Jordan Ott is the type of NBA coach that I can't stand. It's veterans or nobody. I'm going to rely on my veterans in clutch situation, and that drives me nuts. Could you imagine if, who was the coach of the Bulls before Doug? I just forgot his name. I can picture him right now.
Doug Collins?
The guy before Phil Jackson.
Doug Collins.
Could you imagine if he was like, we're not playing a rookie Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
Could you imagine that? It just NBA coaches that do this stuff drive me nuts. I'm going to go down with my veterans. Well, have fun going down with your veterans out there. We'll talk more about the Suns coming up. Diamondbacks, of course. NCAA, I got a question for Coop on that and this gambling scandal out of Texas Tech. Well, their quarterback at least as well. And then, of course, Cardinals drafts. Come on back, folks. Main event, Tuesday edition. And we're back here, Main Event Tuesdays with Bruce Cooper. Folks, he came in not on that high cloud that he was on last Thursday for the draft show, and great feedback from that draft show, by the way, Coop, for everybody that tuned in and watched it, on all the entities out there. They loved it to death, especially the beginning with your excitement with Jeremiah Love. Now, we're going to ruin that today with my Carson Beck scenario that I brought to the program yesterday. So we'll have that coming up. But we're talking Suns, and looking back first on the Suns. Well, first, let's talk about Jordan Ott after the game. He went to his press conference and everything, and here's just a clip of what he had to say about this team. Here's Jordan Ott.
Even to the group, I don't think I was fully prepared to talk about the season. We'll talk tomorrow, but I do think there's a sense of pride with this group. We hear it often with the city and the fans. I think that's what hurts today because this group, it ends. That team ends. And they should be proud of what they did this year. We can only help so much. We can only talk to them so much. They got to go out there and perform. And to perform in this tough environment against one of, if not the best team in the fight of this group that we talked a lot about over the 89 games now, or 88 games, it showed up in game 88. Down the stretch, that group fought. It's hard to take any of those guys out, so it's probably a long-winded answer, but off the cuff, we all can feel proud of what this team did, not only over the course of the entire season, but tonight as well.
Yeah,
That's a coach that just lost a series and got swept.
Yeah. My response to him is the he's talking about the players have to go out and get it done. No, you have to put them in a position to get it done. And when you're playing midgets, and I'm just throwing analogies out here, midgets against
6'2"
giants.
midgets.
Come on, man. Come on. It's just not going to work.
Yeah.
And the game was look. SGA is the best player in the league right now, and to allow him to get easy baskets. I mean, make the dude work.
Hard to do. It's hard to do when he's getting ticky-tack fouls constantly.
Well, create a perimeter that forces him to shoot from the. Make them beat you from the perimeter. Yeah. Try something different, dude. Like not only playing your bigs with length, but creating a perimeter. I'll tell you what. You remember a guy named Giannis Antetokounmpo? Maybe you heard of him. Remember how he was just
vaguely.
Remember how he just played at this MVP level? Yeah. He was a great, and so he got in the paint constantly. Well, there were teams that started playing like a shield type defense. They forced him to shoot from the outside, and the Bucks go down. Mm-hmm. And look, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Don't get me wrong. He can make that outside shot. But, damn it, I'm going to give him 10 outside shots and not 9 in the paint and 1 outside.
Yeah.
I mean,
he was 10 of 17 last night. That's containing the man.
Yeah. Unfortunately, 8 of those 10 shots were in the paint.
That's the problem. By the way, they had less points in the paint than the Suns did last night. It's just – their points in the paints come in critical moments.
Sure.
They need to stop runs.
Sure.
Or they're on a run. That's when they come. And that's what struck me about the Thunder in this series is when they needed to make a play, they were able to make one.
Sure.
And the Suns were not.
But because it was easy. They could play the high-low game or they can penetrate. Yeah. There's no rim protection back there. No one to alter a shot.
Also, the Suns' turnovers drive me nuts.
Yeah.
To me, you could say, look, the players are the ones that are turning it over. They had no answer to the defense of Oklahoma City's smothering defense. They had no answer to it. They would just throw the ball somewhere, and it would be turnover.
Well, here's the deal. You learn this even when you're playing high school ball. What the Thunder do is even when the Suns try to set a high screen, they will show and either trap, especially Booker, show and trap, or they'd show and recover. Mm-hmm. All right? But at any rate, they're stopping that. And so the way you stop this perimeter defense is you hit the middle. Like if they're playing a zone zone deep, you hit the middle. And so in the middle is Oso Ighodaro.
Not across the court.
No, yeah. In the middle is Oso Ighodaro. Ighodaro, when he catches the ball at the free throw line or just slightly above it, he's looking to hand off, or sometime he'll look to turn and give a bounce pass. You have to have like a Mark Williams or look. Let me tell you something. DeAndre Ayton, and I'm not trying to say that I love this guy, but at least he had a 15-foot jumper. Or also, what drives me crazy about him, we're talking about player development, he just has this push shot. He can either put the ball on the floor, take it for a jam, or you could throw a lob to him, or maybe he can get a rebound and put it back. But I'm telling you, the dude won't shoot beyond the free throw line, and he's not a threat. So when you throw the ball to him in the middle, and he gives it right back out, well, the Suns are back in the same position again. What they were when they started.
They're just off to the side or toward the middle or whatever.
And now the shot clock has even gone down further. I'm telling you, you have when that's the way. That's one way and probably the best way to beat their perimeter pressure. I don't know if you watched the series or remember the series with the Indiana Pacers last year that went 7 games?
For the finals?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
But after
Now,
Halliburton got hurt or before Halliburton?
well,
got hurt?
just the whole entire series.
Yes. Game 7, yes.
They would try to use that series, and this is what I loved about their head coach. They would play like McConnell and Halliburton at the same. But you know what they did? They put Halliburton at the free throw line, and so T.J. McConnell and they're trying to take away Turner's threes or who's a guy from U of A that was traded? I forget his name, but at any rate,
it's a year later, right?
Yeah. Well. God,
bad
I'm not getting his name, but at any rate, when they hit Halliburton in the middle, Halliburton can either score or he can dish or he can drive. Yeah. He put pressure on their defense, and so here is their head coach making adjustments like that, and now the games are going down to the wire. They're going down to the wire. I mean, he had Daigneault all off balance, and I'm telling you, in Game 7, if Halliburton doesn't tear his Achilles, I don't know who wins that game.
No, I agree 100%. But I actually thought the Pacers were winning that series until he got hurt.
But I'm telling you, the Pacers, they don't have a great lineup. What they do is that they play their length and they play their athleticism, but they're smart enough to attack the middle. That the Thunder have arguably the best defense in basketball. But when you hit them in the middle, you take away their perimeter strength, which is their athleticism and their pressure on the defense. And when they use a 6'8", 6'9" guard like Halliburton in the middle, I mean, they didn't always have him bring the ball up.
But that's why I was adamant the Suns have to win that 8th play-in game and even if they're getting swept. It's because this is how Jordan Ott. I'll say this about Jordan Ott. As frustrated as I get with his lack of using younger players, prefers the veteran players, he needed this experience just as much, if not more, than the players did. Because what did you bring up the Pacers last year? What did the Pacers have for a coach that the Suns don't have? An experienced guy that's been around for 100 years and can make those plays, been in the playoffs 1,000 times, knows playoff basketball, stuff like that. You have to learn to play in those environments. And Jordan Ott, now it's going to sound like I'm knocking him here, but I'm not. He doesn't know how to do it in that environment yet. He got schooled by the Oklahoma City coach who's won a championship, been in those environments now. So now you've got the taste of it. Now, not the taste you wanted, but he got a taste of it now, and now he can sit back and go, okay, this is what I need to do. This is what we need to do differently. This is how we need to form this stuff. We need to look at this.
Yeah, I hear you there. But at some point when you guys go down and break down film, don't the other coaches throw out, maybe we should try this, maybe we try.
He's got some guys next to him that have been around for 100 years, but that's what worries me a little bit. Is Ott not listening? But it could just be this. Look, they were at a disadvantage with their roster this year. They need to improve that.
Well, again, we can go back and talk about that. But I just now remember the guys that I was thinking about. Yeah. Benedict Mathurin, the former U of A player.
He's the U of A. I was like, who's the U of A?
And then they had Nembhard. I mean, these guys. When Halliburton had the ball in the middle, he could kick it out, and they were knocking down the three-pointer. They played.
That's what the Thunder were doing too.
The Thunder. They're
passing out to Chet for a 3. SGA would go down in the middle of the lane, get 4 guys on him, and he'd pop it out to Chet. He'd hit a 3.
Yeah. And so the Suns, they don't have I'm trying to think of a player they could have used like that. They really don't have one. Oso Ighodaro. I mean, his player development is huge this offseason. I mean, the dude has, and I'm telling you, he's really a 4 playing 5.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And so
I would use him more like a Tim Duncan style than I would the center position if I was able to do that.
If he were able to develop a jump shot, let's say this offseason, and really became a guy that could at least hit a 15-foot shot or whatever, you could start him and Mark Williams or Malawak and him. I mean, all of a sudden your team is bigger now. Yeah. You're bigger. And you have rim protection.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're going to redo the roster, but Robert says SGA scored in the paint almost as many times as he flopped. Should have dropped gloves early. I did see Robert at the beginning saying Suns should drop gloves at the beginning of this game, like balls tipped, and then just start like a old hockey style there and stuff like that last night. But I mean, so then this begs the next question. Season's over now. What can you do in the future? We've talked in the past about, O'Neal. I feel like O'Neal needs to not be a part of this team. I would unload Grayson Allen, but you need a three-point shooter like him. But just the injuries have crept in, and it's like you can find somebody younger without the injury-prone side of it. Type of a position. Mark Williams, is he a free agent?
He is a free agent.
I think you lose him because somebody might pay him a decent amount. But you also need to get rid of a lot of these same players.
Okay, but let me ask you this. The Suns gave up 2 first-round picks for Mark Williams.
That's the problem. But are you going to pay him?
Well, did he show you enough in the regular season?
Let me give you a scenario.
Okay.
Los Angeles Lakers need a center, need a rim protector. They wanted him originally.
They did.
He's fairly healthy this year till his foot injury at the end of the season.
Yep.
You don't see the Lakers with their new owner possibly stepping in and overpaying for him to go there. So I'm just throwing one scenario.
But the Suns have an opportunity before the free agency window opens.
I agree.
To sign Gillespie, Goodwin, and Williams.
Yes.
You don't have to let him hit the free agent market.
Goodwin's got to come back.
But if you have questions about his health, and you want to make Mallowack the guy, then maybe you do let him go. But you gave up 2 first-round picks for a guy that plays 1 season for you.
The other side of it is, if you think Malowich is the guy, he should have played him more this year. That tells me they don't think he's the guy next year.
Well,
They think he's a backup going into next year as well.
That's only because he didn't get the play. Look, a lot of these rookies,
I agree,
that turn into what they are, it's because they are playing every day. Yes. They're learning as the season goes on. They get better as the season goes on.
Just think of his experience if he would have been playing against Jokic this year with some minutes, getting destroyed by Jokic most nights.
Absolutely.
And getting those minutes.
That's
just think
part
about
of it.
those big guys. Embiid, when you played the 76ers, throw him out there. Is it a disadvantage with a guy like Embiid if he's healthy out there? But give him that experience on how to learn to play those guys. They didn't do it. They didn't do it at all.
And let me tell you something. I was here when the Suns drafted some dude named Amari Stoudemire. Maybe you heard of him. They played him as a rookie.
Yeah.
The dude won Rookie of the Year in the same draft with Yao Ming was first overall. Amari was the 9th pick. He played every freaking game and just got better as the season went on.
That's how you get better. You get better. You don't get better sitting on the bench and playing G League games.
Absolutely. That's exactly.
Especially in a rebuilding year. Now, if this was a team like the Celtics who just need a piece or two, all right, your rookie's going to sit a little bit longer because you don't need him. But this was a rebuilding year that you wasted, in my eyes, on the young guys.
A year in which the experts thought you were only going to win 30 games. That's what they placed the over under.
I know. We won that early.
And so the Suns also have a guy who's a little more athletic than either Royce O'Neal or Grayson Allen. Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
Bryant was the best 3-point shooter in college basketball a year ago.
Where was he at?
Yeah, and he just sat the whole time. Now, they have some players that are young, athletic, and have some type of skill set to them. Granted, Mallowack needs to develop more offensively, but he can help you like let's say that what we see in Minnesota.
With Rudy?
Yeah, Rudy Gobert has not been an offensive savant, but he
a
survived.
Great defensive talent.
And so that can be Mallowack right now.
I'll take a guy with 0 points that goes out there and plays stellar defense.
Yeah, stellar defense, block shots, alter shots, get you rebounds.
So here's the Suns' issue that they have going into this offseason, the way I look at it. You're going to be good enough with your roster now to be a 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th seed and then work your way into the playoffs and be an 8th seed or 7th seed. You have that ability now. How do you get out of that into a top 6 team? Well, that's the decision they have to make because the team is constructed isn't good enough to be a top 6 team going forward. Now they need to add some additions and change up that roster a little bit to compete on that level. Because the Suns, if they don't do anything this year or lose a couple guys, bring a couple guys, they're going to be in the playoffs next year. They're that good of a team. But how do you improve now?
Well, I can tell you one way. You know they don't have a first-round pick. All they have is a second-round pick, 47 overall. But here's the deal. And I'm not sure what it looks like going forward for them because I'm not in their their future business like that. I don't have it down like that. But I guarantee you, just as sure as you're born, Stephen McCullum, that the Oklahoma City Thunder have 2 first-round picks.
Yeah.
They don't want to utilize those 2 first-round picks. They're too roster heavy right now.
They have no use
and
for
so
them.
they would. I guarantee you, they're going to trade one, if not both, those picks. And what they're looking for is a future first down the road, and that's where I'm not sure where the Suns come in.
They don't have one till what, 2032 or something ridiculous like that?
They gave up a 2031 and a 2025 for Mark Williams.
Yeah.
So maybe you can give them the Oklahoma City Thunder if the Suns can trade 2032, maybe you can trade 2032 and maybe they're interested in a Royce O'Neal. Maybe they're interested in a Grayson
I think a
Allen.
Royce O'Neal will fit in beautifully with the Oklahoma City Thunder.
And so if I did that and a 2032 first for one of their first this year,
Grayson's Allen problem is that first year he was here was unbelievable. Injuries. Got buffed up last year in injuries. This year, injuries. Players like Grayson Allen in injuries, generally you're not commanding a lot of demand if you're on the bench more than you're on the court for those types of players. Grayson Allen's better than a role player, but you're not when you're injured all the time. And I don't know what's going on with him. I'm not questioning it all. It's just a lot of time missing games right now.
And let's put it like this.
Years.
Let's just put it like this. And this is why this year was really frustrating for me. And look, I get it. The Suns, they played well above expectations, but when Dylan Brooks went down, because the Suns were a game ahead of the Lakers when Brooks went down.
We were eyeing the 6 or 5 seed.
Absolutely. So when he went down, and then Mark Williams 3 games later, I mean the Suns, their season just kind of torpedoed. I mean they basically just played 500 ball, and the Lakers went on this run, and so it is what it is. So the Suns, you could say, well, they're not that far off. Mm-hmm. You can make that argument.
They're not. They can be a 5-6 seed with the right tinkering this offseason.
Right. So so like you just talked about, what is that right tinkering?
That's the question. Yeah. I mean, you just have too many guys. I joke around when I say on the broadcast last night said it when Booker was no field goals and had 2 points in that first half. Yeah. And they were like, well, and I saw a lot of people
and
say
they're only down 7 or 8 and a half.
This team might be better with Booker on the bench. But that kind of made me giggle a little bit because I said this all year long. Booker goes to the bench. You have a Booker-like player coming off the bench. Like you just have 5 or 6 guys on this roster that are identical. The only difference is a few inches in height and stuff to that effect. And you need more variety in that position. And we said that when they started signing guys last year. What are we getting? Every 6'2", 6'3", wing guy out there? Is that what we're doing right now? We made that kind of a joke. They have their 2029 first-round pick, and then they don't have another one till after 2031. So I'm assuming that's 2032 in terms of their first round.
So they have a 2029 first?
They have a 2029 first is the one.
Can they trade it?
See, with the rules, I don't know because they've traded all the other ones. You're limited on, you can't do every year.
There's that Ted Stepien rule.
Yeah, and I don't know. That might be why the only reason they have that one, Coop, is they're not able to trade it. The NBA is the most complicated league on the planet with that rule.
Well, let me ask you this. So the Suns, they had a first-round pick of their own to use in 2025, but they acquired basically their own pick from the Houston Rockets and it was a 10th overall. They used it on Malawak.
Yes.
All right. So
number 9, I think.
So
right? Was it 9 or 10? Yeah,
it was a 10th pick overall. So here's the deal. So you use it in 2025. I guess they don't have they clearly don't have one in 2026.
Nope, or 27. Nope, those are previous trades. Yeah.
See, here's the deal.
2029 is their next first-round pick, Coop, unless they make a trade.
So that's what's confusing me. That's why I was totally confused. I thought the Suns had a pick this year.
Nope.
And now
I know for a fact they don't this year because I think they were talking about on the broadcast either last night or the night before.
Yeah, I know they don't have one. I saw they did.
Yeah.
But so if they don't have this one,
I Googled. Let me put it this way: I Googled it, and that's what Google's telling me.
So this is 2026. You're saying they don't have one.
They don't
so
have a
there's a
first-round pick
rule in the NBA. It's the Ted Stepien rule. And if for you out there who don't know who he was, he used to be the owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Mm-hmm.
He traded all types of first-round picks and stuff like that for players brought in, and the organization was in such shambles that the league actually forced him out. They brought in a new owner, I believe it was Gordon Gund.
Yeah, sounds right.
And
you would be more knowledgeable, but it sounds right.
And the league gave the Cavaliers draft picks because the new owner came in. He had no future draft capital because it was all traded. So they put in the Ted Stepien rule. You cannot trade consecutive first-round picks. So but
that's at one time. You can trade two consecutive draft in separate trades. You can't do it at once. So like we can't go to you can't go to the Thunder and say we want a first this year and a first next year and a first the third next year. They won't let them do that. But if you make one trade and get one of them, you can make another trade and get rid of your other first. You can't do it at the same trade.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, the rules get complicated, but it's something to that effect where they restrict what you do there. Because of that, we're getting rid of it. By the way, this year's draft, the first round pick goes to Memphis via Orlando. Yeah, I don't even know what trade they did to make that happen. When did they trade with Orlando? When did they trade with Orlando?
Is it the Desmond Bain trade?
I'm wondering if it was that. Yeah, but this one's been gone for a while. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay.
The Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal trades are the ones the 2030 and 2031 ones that they don't have, or those later ones. It's just nauseating. But yeah. I would also argue, though, in the NBA, you don't need draft picks. I would argue in the NBA, unless you're a top 2 or 3 draft picking team, and some years it's only 1, some years it's only 2, it doesn't matter what you draft. The free agency, I'd rather spend it on a free agent to come in here that can play in the league. I'm not saying you don't want them. I'm saying I don't get as upset with not having them in the NBA because you can make a difference in free agency, unlike other leagues.
Well, that's how Mike D'Antoni operated with his Suns 7 seconds or less team.
But I mean, other than like last year, Cooper Flagg, and then he just won Rookie of the Year. The guy that was drafted behind him, that I'm forgetting his name right now, Knuppel.
No, Con Knuppel, he went like 7.
Yeah, he went 7. But
he was the second. You talking about second in the Rookie of the Year?
Yeah. But exactly. But I'm saying those were your 2 draft. Okay, that's what I'm saying. You limited choices to draft a game-changing guy in the NBA in the top, unless you're a top couple players. You can get lucky with some guys, like I said last year, and stuff like that. You can do that. But where's Okafor? Right? Oh, not Okafor. Gosh, who was his second? Who was drafted second last year? I'm completely forgetting his name.
Was it Ace Bailey?
Yeah. Where's he at?
Utah Jazz. Yeah, I don't think he did much.
Did he even show up?
Harper played well with the.
He did, but he's not. But he wasn't. He wasn't changed the game.
No. Well, look.
Change your friend. Even Cooper Flagg with the Mavericks. What did he do? They won very few games with the best 19-year-old ever to play.
Yeah. But look. Sometimes just going to a team like San Antonio, San Antonio gives the Thunder fits. I think they went 4-0 against the Thunder.
They did. I cannot. Now that the Nuggets are struggling in the playoffs and probably going to lose to Minnesota, to win 3 in a row are going to be tough.
I don't know. Minnesota's now without.
I know.
Those are 2.
It could happen. It could happen. But even if it does, I think Denver's in a lot of trouble against the Spurs.
Oh, they are.
I can't wait for a Spurs Thunder matchup.
Well, yeah. And here's the deal. See, with Wemby at 7'4" in that lane, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and these guys, they don't get the same shots in the paint like they get against the Suns.
But even then, the bigs for the Spurs can play outside on top of Chet and them, whereas the Suns didn't have anybody that could go out and play.
What they do is they have some 6'6" guys like wings like Vassell, like Stephon Castle, and Harper. I mean, those guys can funnel even if they get beat. They can put pressure. Even if they get beat, they got Wemby back and protecting the rim.
Yeah.
And so
I can't wait for that series.
Yeah. They could not handle these guys this year, and so Dagnall and the Thunder, they're really going to have to put some X's and O's together to try and bring down the.
VJ Edgecombe, he was drafted third. That's what I was trying to think of
that dude
for the
was awesome.
But not a household name until the playoffs happen, and then he's everywhere.
Look. Edgecombe played extremely well. Look, this dude was special at Baylor. Yeah. This dude was special at Baylor.
That's right.
They would go
76ers, by the way.
They would go to him in the stretch as freshmen. I watched this kid play. He was their go-to guy as a true freshman at Baylor. And let me tell you something. When he came to Philly, and Embiid was out for forever. Yeah. It became the Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe show. I mean, Edgecombe's a bad dude. He's a bad dude.
I'm playing on the East. We don't hear him as much. I don't just. But I'm saying, but that's all I'm saying is unless you're a top, he was drafted third. So unless you're a top 2 or 3 draft pick, you're kind of just. You're going to get like a Malowatch type player, which you're projecting to be good, but their projects are not going to come in and dominate. But like I said, even then, Cooper Flagg projected to be the best player in the NBA for years and years to come. How'd that work for the Mavericks?
But he just got better as the season went on because he got the playing time.
That's the issue, right? And that's where I struggle with Malowitz. So let me ask you this. Looking back at the Suns season as we wrap up the Suns talk here, to me, I saw a lot of people express disappointment in the Suns season because of the way it ended. To me, if you take a step back from it, the Suns did exactly what I was hoping they would do this year. I thought they would be in the play-in games, and then I kind of questioned if they'd be able to get that 7th or 8th seed. I saw them getting at least to the play-ins, and then if anything happens after that. The way they started their season, the expectations changed where you said we were eyeing the 5 and 6 seed at one time before the injuries started sneaking in and stuff like that. To me, even though it's a disappointing end of the season, this Suns team is a year or so ahead of schedule in terms of where they're going at. And you can't argue with that. No. This was a good year. This was a better than expected year. Nobody expected this to happen. So from that perspective, I think this was a positive season for the Suns. Looking forward.
I'm just upset the Suns in retrospect beat the I call them the paper clips, the LA Clippers late because
that's what hurt them.
Right. Because they in that 7-8 matchup they would have played. Because I said on this very show, I'd rather play the Clippers than the Portland Trailblazers.
You're right, and I said I'd rather say play Portland than the game happened, and I was like, I made a horrible mistake.
And they would have beat the Clippers, and they would have wound up as a 7 seed playing the Spurs, and they match up much better.
They would have won a couple games against the Spurs.
They match up much better.
Well, that's the missed stuff that you had there. So I get the frustration at the end of the season, but if you take a step back, and the only reason the end of the season was disappointing.
Well, the injuries.
Because of the beginning of the
season. Look, a lot of the injuries had a lot to do with that. Yeah. You took away the key to the engine, the key to the car in Brooks.
Yeah.
Brooks missed the last 18, 20 games?
A lot of time.
Come on, man. That's a lot. That's a lot of time.
Do we have a Devin Booker problem though?
Well, I tell you what, Booker can't figure out how to beat double teams, and then when he tries to pass out of those, it's like watching Kevin Durant trying to pass out of them.
I keep getting the vision ever since the Duke losing in the NCAA tournament with the passing, being pressured.
Oh my!
I can't get those visions out of my head when Devin Booker's being double teamed. It just looks like he's just throwing it somewhere. And even last night, he'd get the ball and the double team would come and he'd almost threw it away a couple times because he's just trying to weirdly bounce it to somebody and stuff to that effect. That's something. The problem that I got with Booker is one, he needs. When CP3 was here, Booker, I'm not going to say he's not a leader, but I don't necessarily know if the team rallies around him as much. But if you have like a player that does have that, like a CP3, Devin Booker shines. So you need a B player with Booker that's going to bring out the best in him. Dylan Brooks might be able to be that guy, but also the problem that you have is Devin Booker's salary. He's not playing like a $60 million a year.
Well, he's not. But here's the deal: when you want to go back to CP3, look, I'm not here to try to say DeAndre Ayton was all that, but when the Suns ran that high pick and roll, that was their bread and offense. So when they're rolling the high pick and roll with Chris, look at what Chris Paul did. Chris Paul either came off there and popped the jumper himself, or he gave it to DeAndre
he hit
Ayton
the elbow,
rolling for a slam dunk, or he'd kick it to the wing where you got a Devin Booker who's open now. He doesn't have that double. People now have to come to Booker had a choice to either shoot or put it on the floor with someone rolling at him.
Or everybody's just standing along on the wing. Now, they had good ball movement last night, but where were they passing the ball around? The wing. Just right around the outside, and it'd come inside and go right back outside again.
Well, sure.
And you're like...
because they had no one attacking the middle from the rim from the middle.
That's what I'm saying. A B player... the B player for the Suns, like a Chris Paul, changes the game on that side is what I'm getting at. And then that Devin Booker can play off it. So I don't think we have a Devin Booker problem.
No.
We have a Devin Booker health problem. But then I could also understand why people say, well, Devin Booker with that salary should be able to play without that guy.
Well, yeah.
But in the NBA, you don't. Look around the league. Trae Young is a heck of a young talent. Struggle because he was the only one in Atlanta. It happens.
Look. Booker played extremely well when the Suns were in the finals against the Bucks that whole season. We're talking 2021. They came back the next year. They won a franchise record 64 games. They're playing extremely well again until they went up 2-0 on the Mavericks in the semifinals.
Fell apart.
And Booker really hasn't been that dude since. Yeah. Because
the toughness. The toughness is missing in Booker.
Well, what they did is they brought in some dude named Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal behind him, and now they gave up. Well, I don't have to tell you what they gave up in Johnson and Bridges and stuff like that.
Yes.
But the composition of the team changed. And so now Booker, who used to get open shots, now you figured he'd get even more with Kevin Durant. Well, shoot, the Suns played this pitiful offense of where the ball ISO. They had either ISO Booker or ISO Durant.
Kevin Durant fooled us. I think he was exposed in Phoenix for the player. And it's not a negative thing. He's just not that type of player. No, and it was exposed here in Phoenix, and it's even more exposed in Houston right now as well.
Yeah, he's simply an elite scorer. Yeah. He is not an alpha dog, an alpha male.
He's not a Steph Curry. He's not a Draymond. He's not one of those guys. Not a CP3 out there and stuff like that. Kind of exposed. So Suns season officially over. But throw up the NBA bracket here really quick, Kobe, and we'll hit this really fast. Obviously, Oklahoma City Thunder sitting at home now, waiting for the winner of the Lakers Rockets. I do believe this series gets wrapped up here Wednesday. Yeah. Rockets got their one win. It was kind of like a letdown. LeBron turned the ball over late. They're saying, I always say Kuminga, but not him. But they're saying they're going to get not Luka back, but the other kid that's injured back.
Austin Reeves?
Austin Reeves could play for Game 5. They're optimistic on that. But if they need him late in this series, he'll be there. But I think it's more important now the Lakers wrap this series up quickly because those legs are going to get old quickly when you got to go up against the Thunder. Timberwolves, Nuggets here. I get the injuries, but 3 in a row for the Nuggets, the way they're playing, I don't know if they can do it.
Well, here's the deal. I would have definitely taken the T-Wolves, and I did take them in my little pool.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. But with they're
Anthony Edwards
and DiVincenzo really done Edwards for the year. I mean, that's huge. That's big.
I agree, and just 3 in a row for the Nuggets. And Jokic hasn't been playing well at all Game 2 and Game 3. So Nuggets can't come back from this, but either way, even if they do, they're going to have a Spurs
They-
team
they-
rested
they-
and waiting
it
for
ain't
him
beating
here.
the Spurs.
Yeah, and I agree with that. So I'm looking forward to that Thunder Spurs series coming up. Pistons in serious trouble against
Oh
the
my
Magic.
God. Oh my
That
gosh.
game last night, I thought at first it was the Pistons not waking up. But I watched that game. I watched them all, but last night I came to the conclusion Magic want it more. Magic are a matchup nightmare for the Pistons.
Well, the Magic, they are an 8 seed, but they had some injuries to
They
some
did.
key players.
better than that.
They absolutely are,
And they're young, too.
Yeah. And so the Pistons are finding that out. And
Yeah, and I think the Magic are going to sneak, obviously 3-1 up here, but I do think they sneak out of this series with a win here,
Yeah.
and then that leaves Cavaliers Raptors. I thought this was the biggest dud series. Look at the Raptors come back and tie that series up. I think Cavaliers are still going to win this
I do
series.
too.
I just they got to wake up here soon, but that's a boring series to watch there. Knicks Hawks. Am I rooting for the Hawks in this? I don't know if they can win this series, but I want to see chaos in New York. That's an owner that I cannot stand, and I want nothing but bad things to happen to him. Not in terms of that, but oh my gosh, for him, the Knicks to lose in the first round of the Hawks will be fantastic. But I also don't think it matters. Whoever wins that series is losing to the Celtics.
oh, there's no
regardless.
question. Look.
Coming out, so.
I'm projecting a Celtics Spurs final.
I mean, look at this though. In your I would agree with that 100%. Thunder, Spurs, or Celtics. Look at the Celtics here. If the Magic beat the Pistons, Cavaliers win there. Magic Cavaliers. Whoever wins that one, the Celtics are better then. You get past the Knicks. If the Hawks win, they'll beat the Hawks fairly easily. The Celtics might have an easy trek here to the finals. Now you got to
Yeah.
play them all.
Yeah.
But this is an amazing thing in the East because I think whoever wins this is going to come out of the West.
Yeah,
Unless the
and-
Celtics have an easy run and they're not tired, worn down, and beaten up.
And here's the crazy thing about it. When Jason Tatum tore his Achilles last year, and then you started seeing the Celtics, I thought they were having like a fire sale because they're like
They
throwing
started
the
to.
red flag because they said, look, we're
They
not
were
going to
talking
win.
about trading Brown. They ended up keeping him. They were like the Pacers
Yeah.
who Halpern's out. Let's get rid of everybody.
Yeah,
Save
yeah.
up payroll for a
Right,
year and we'll
right,
regroup.
right.
They started to do that.
and I'll be darned, this crazy team just kept winning. So I really do believe, based on that, I would give Missoula Coach of the Year honors. There's no question.
I think Missoula, 3/4 of the way through last year, I was like, Missoula's the worst coach in the league. He's just garbage. Boy, has he changed that attitude and that around in the playoffs last year, and then this year what he's done. I just wasn't a fan of the guy. He just made mistakes left and right. I don't know. He woke up or something. It was amazing to see.
Look, this Celtics team, you talk about the Suns being a surprise. I just didn't see this.
No, I
didn't
don't
see
think
it.
anybody did. That's kind of that's where that East side, man. It's like, and then the Celtics, if they have it, and I say easy, I mean, you win series 5-6 games, and the other guys are battle. Spurs Thunder will be just a battle fest over there.
Yeah.
And if you're the Spurs and you're able to get to the championship, the finals there, and fairly healthy and resting throughout it, it's just. That's going to be an amazing finals.
Yeah,
there to see.
here's the deal. I may have been too rushed in saying that the Spurs would beat the Thunder because I'm sitting here thinking I'm like,
They have the best chance.
I'm saying that. Look, they're a better team to me, more talented individually than the Thunder. They give the Thunder problems, but as each series goes on, guess what? The pressure gets tighter.
This is what worries
These
me.
are a lot of kids who've never been in this spot.
Even the veterans, DeAndre Fox, never been in this spot.
No,
He's
no,
been around for
no.
a bunch of years, one of
And-
the best guys in the league, but he
Absolutely.
hasn't been in these spots. Here's the other thing you got to factor in the NBA. Sadly, more the series goes on, the more the refs affect the game. Whether they're no calls or they're calls, Thunder know how to play in that environment.
Yeah, they
the
do.
Spurs will not
Yeah.
when they get to that conference
Yeah.
championship. That could swing it. I'm not saying the refs are skewing it or anything to that effect.
Well,
But a simple no call or a call in a big moment where a veteran team will know, do not step up to SGA. Let him get that shot off. Don't step up because they'll call that foul. The Spurs might not be, cognizant of that. Step up, big foul at the end, you lose the game. Something to that effect is what I'm getting at. That's what worries me about the Spurs is their youngness in a league where that can hurt you.
yeah. Yeah,
So-
it would be their naivete or inexperience
Exactly.
that
That's a good way
that
of
would
putting
that would cost them.
And it's not just the game. It's unfortunately, like I said, the officiating as well. Even their coaching. I know you have Pop there, it's behind the scenes, but even their coaching, first time going through this
Right.
as well in terms of head coaching
Right.
and stuff like that. When we come back, we've got Major League Baseball. We got NFL draft follow-up here, and I want to talk to you a little bit about this gambling controversy in college football here as well. Get your thoughts on that. Come on back, folks. Main Event Tuesdays with Bruce Cooper. And we're back here and with Bruce Cooper, of course, local legend, as I call him, 34 years. I was watching this kid when I was in high school. This kid right here. I was watching him. Cooper, I was sitting at home watching the Killer Bees on Sunday night when I was in
Jeez, boy,
Dobson High School back in the 90s.
Why do I sound old?
That's,
Or I feel old.
that's my treat for you there. There's a problem, though. You look younger than I do, so you look good at least. But, obviously joining us, Channel 12, all those years, and I told him to quit. He just walks around and his Emmys follow him. I don't know how they hover behind him like that. I tell him he's got to take them off the screens while he's in here. It's too blinding of the lights. But you've been around long enough, and now gambling's getting involved in this. If you missed the story yesterday, Texas Tech transfer quarterback Brendan Sorsby was at Cincinnati the last couple years, started his career at Indiana, has now checked himself into a residential treatment program for a gambling addiction. This is going to happen more and more and more. He was placing, according to sources, he was placing small bets of $2, $5 on it. The problem is he bet on not just college football when he was at Indiana, reportedly. He also bet on his team.
Yeah, and they said that he didn't play in any of the games
He
that
did.
bet,
He was a
but
redshirt
that's besides the point. But
Inside info.
Here's the deal. Texas Tech just dropped $5 million his way to get him to transfer there.
Yep.
What is the right or proper penalty? Because we're talking about a guy that was dropping like very, very small numbers. So it's not like he's
We're not
fixing,
talking hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, so he's
of
not
dollars.
fixing games. No one's asking him to fix games or anything like that.
But he did
there-
place
there-
thousands of bets, all like I said,
right,
$250,
right. But there
$3,
is a spirit of the rule. You
NCAA has a rule.
you cannot circumvent the rule.
Yeah.
And so even though you can say, I don't think this guy necessarily has a problem based on, but I think he's just trying to get ahead of.
Oh, no.
they're
You
try-
want to know my theory?
What?
He has checked himself into this residential treatment
To get
program
ahead of
because there's evidence that he broke the NCAA rule.
Oh.
He's trying. Well, if he bet on football, you can bet on UFC. If you can bet on sports where you don't, the NCAA doesn't have a sport in it. So you can legally bet on UFC, like for instance, but you can't bet on professional football. A rule passed where you could, and then it was rescinded afterwards this year. But if he bet on football when he was at Indiana, the
And
rules specifically state
did,
you
yeah.
lose 50% of your eligibility. Here's what I think is going to happen. Are you ready for my craziness,
Okay.
folks? Here we go.
Okay.
He checked himself into this residential treatment program to get ahead of it. You're right. He knows the NCAA is cracking down on it. He knows there's evidence. If you don't know, the gambling companies turn you in. Somebody turned him into the Indiana Gaming Commission. I believe it's a story now because probably somebody from a previous school, as Maddie left,
Yeah. Yeah.
might have said,
Yep.
hey, he's had this investigation over here for a while.
Yep.
We were able to squash at
Yep.
Texas Tech.
Right.
I mean, at Cincinnati.
Yeah. Right.
But We're
Right.
going to let it out now because he
Right.
left us to go to
Sure.
Texas Tech.
Absolutely.
And Texas Tech has enough money. I believe he's getting ahead of this right now. He's going to come out on the other side and say, I've learned my lesson. There's not going to be no punishment.
You don't think there's going to be a penalty?
Well, there might be a penalty,
dude,
but it's
he
not
had-
going to be 50% of eligibility. The rule is 0 eligibility if you bet on your own team. And he did it in Indiana. Now, there's going to be some negotiations. The NCAA does not want a prolonged lawsuit over this. They can't afford to. And Texas Tech, like it or love it, has more money from their boosters.
So you're trying to say the NCAA is in this pardon for pay type of thing?
I'm saying residential treatment program in my conspiracy theorist mind. The residential treatment program is what he was told to do as part of the what's happening on the other end of it. To
Well,
make it look not as bad. Now coming on the other
Here's the deal.
That's what
I'm going to cite what the AIA cites.
This
here.
is why I wanted to bring this up to you. Obviously, you're around high school football a lot, so this is what I want to transition to. So go ahead.
Yeah, their big deal is, hey, we cannot compromise our rules for any one deal because we open up Pandora's box.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're bringing forth a case that has a lot of sympathy, a lot of sensitivity to it, but again, if we acquiesce, if we bend our rules to compensate or compromise our rules for this, we've opened up Pandora's box. We'll be
Everybody.
floodgated. So I'm thinking the NC2A, they have this rule. If you bet on your team, I mean, it's black and white. There is no,
I agree.
yeah. And so
I agree.
if they at all compromise, bend, or acquiesce in any way, shape, or form, they're opening Pandora's box. They're going to get
I agree.
more. They're going to get more.
And that's where I think this is complicated. Is I'm not saying Cincinnati boosters are the ones putting this out there, but they knew about it. It's been with the Indiana Gaming Commission.
Sure,
for a couple years.
I hadn't thought about that, but I
But they
agree.
were
I
they were
agree
able
with
to
you.
squash it, right?
Yeah,
Because why didn't this come out when he was at Cincinnati?
absolutely.
Somebody was able to keep it
Absolutely.
quiet. And now
Absolutely.
it's not. So it's muddied the waters on that point, which I think, kind of like the AIA, a threat of a lawsuit. How many kids that swore or transferred out and were able to play because of a lawsuit that the AIA does not have money to fight? So they were like, all right, kids, you don't get to sit out 5 games. Go play. It happens. Lawsuits can change things. So this is where this is going to get interesting. Here's the other side you got to think about. Nobody from Cincinnati turned him in. That was all done in, they probably turned him in. The Indiana Gaming Commission knew about it, reported it to the school. Cincinnati reported it to the NCAA. But the publicity on it now, the more you think about it, goes, is this retribution for him leaving the school? How many more are you going to? The NCAA, to me, that's a bigger problem than a kid who no law enforcement was involved in this. He didn't raise flags with law enforcement. There were no shady figures on the outside, pressuring him to do games, reportedly. This was just a kid putting $2 on a game here, $2 on a game there, etc. You're opening up Pandora's box here of if you go after him and suspend him and his eligibility for this, you mean to tell me, for instance, I'm not saying you're going to do this, Texas Tech. Texas Tech goes, hey, we were recruiting that guy and that guy and that guy. We know their dirty deeds. Let's call up a friendly media person here and let's get that out on that kid and that kid and that kid that screwed us over. Didn't come in.
Yeah. Look. You're talking about. Look, I was here in this market when Stephen Headache Smith and the ASU basketball scandal, and look, he had to do jail time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was a shady money laundering.
Yeah.
That's not this case at all.
Yeah, and so And so I know that the NCAA does not ever want to go down that road again.
But
And
here's
so
the problem when you are dealing with gambling entities, meaning the companies, you can't have it both ways.
Yeah. Look. Back in that time,
That was
there
different.
was gambling outfits.
They had the signs in the locker
right,
room. Remember,
right.
you'd walk out and it would say, "Do not gamble on anything, not
Yeah.
even dice in
Yeah,
here."
and so now that gambling is a big part of sports legally now, you see these situations. I mean, look, the NBA is dealing with with one involving even head coaches.
Yes.
And so
Baseball head coaches have been fired because of
So,
shady dealings.
yeah, so we've got a problem, but it's just up to the individuals themselves to make sure that they do the right thing. And so when you have someone who breaks that rule, like Sorsby did,
Remember he broke. He got sued by Cincinnati. I want to say it was $1 million lawsuit. I'm not even sure if it was more than that and stuff because he left early by Ohio law and stuff like that. The Pandora box to me isn't necessarily the gambling side of it because this looked like legit gambling. And what I mean by that is just a kid placing bets. Now, you're not allowed to. I get that side of it. But this could lead to a Pandora's box of, oh, you don't want to play here anymore? This car dealership just cut you a check for $3 million? Okay. Well, I know what you did on a Saturday night on a random October.
Well, I think if the kid leaves and he signed this contract, those monies will not transfer with him. They'll stay.
These schools, like when that kid from Washington was going to go to LSU.
Yeah, Damon Williams.
Yeah, they had a clause in his contract at Washington that said Washington controls all of his NIL.
Yeah, and
so if he would have gone to LSU, he couldn't sign any NIL deals because Washington they're not going to give him any NIL money.
yeah. Look,
they're getting smart with that finally deal, but I don't know. But the reason why I bring that up is, AIA kids today, 18-year-old kids today, you can just log into an app. Senior year of football. Now you're not betting on that, but there's some shadiness around high school football.
Sure.
High school baseball.
I mean, look. These agents and agencies, they are tapping into the high school kids. I mean, kids as young as freshmen and stuff. So yeah, it's I don't know where it ends or how far this thing goes, but I know that people like let's see, Nick. Why am I losing his name? The greatest college football coach of all time.
Oh, Saban.
Nick Saban. Look, he's used his influence with Trump in the White House to try and get them to legislate this issue.
Yeah, NIL needs to be. If they're not going to fix it themselves, it needs to be legislated to make it not the Wild West. My main thing on this is it's hurting the kids. Well. Let's just transition here quickly to the NFL draft, and we'll finish up on Major League Baseball. But this is a good transition into this. NFL needs to get rid of. We were texting on Saturday for that 4th, 5th, 6th round, whatever it was, 6th, 7th round. Those are kids that probably wouldn't have been drafted over the last couple of years that were being drafted. And why was that? Because kids were electing to go back to school because they're going to get paid more there than they would if they came out and were a 6th or 7th round draft. Fascinating how NIL is going to change the NFL draft and your players drafted at those levels coming up here. There's a lot of them. Shouldn't have been drafted, but they're there because I saw one team say, they didn't do it, but they're like, we're about to draft a kid that caught no touchdowns in college. He would have just been an undrafted free agent, but he's a guy on our board because he's one of two best options because the kids that we would have drafted went back to school to earn more money than we would have paid him as 7th rounders.
Well,
I saw a quote of that.
Can't you just pass or punt? On that draft pick.
Start trading them around.
Well, no, just look. I remember a situation in which you're on the clock, and if you do not make that pick on the clock, then you lose your turn and it goes to the next one.
Well, you get to still pick. It's just the other teams can pick ahead of you as you go.
Yeah, but I'll just punt 32 times or how many times I need to punt. I just say, look, I don't know what you can do. I mean, there's obviously the players that you talk. I hadn't heard that story.
Yeah.
But
I read it. I can't remember where I saw it. I tried to go back and find it. And it might have been a media person saying, "Hey, I talked to these people" or whatever. But then I'm looking at it right in the 7th round, and I'm just like, man, the stats on these guys say not NFL players.
Yeah, look.
Not even special teamers, Coop.
Look. NIL and the transfer portal, they have changed the landscape of college athletics the way we know it. And there's obviously a trickle-down effect that comes into the pro games.
Yes, it's going to be fast because it's going to hurt like special teams. It's going to hurt that stuff. It's not most 5th, 6th, 7th rounders aren't guys that are signing big deals on their second contract. Undrafted free agents, some of them make it, most of them do not. So we're talking that's where the game's going to slip. But overall, your opinion of the Cardinals draft here? We know you loved Love at number 3.
Yeah.
But after that,
Basantes, Chase Basantes. He's a good selection. I mean, he was a guy like Will Johnson a year ago that was pegged for the first round. Well, Johnson had some health issues. I'm not sure why Basantes dropped, but he was a guy that carried a first round grade. So obviously another good second round pick by the Cardinals.
good value.
Yeah. The only other pick that I'm okay with the Cardinals, their 5th round pick, Reggie Virgil.
Yeah, you like him.
Yeah, I do, but I don't like him better than some receivers that went in the 3rd round that the Cardinals could have taken if they didn't reach for Carson Beck.
That's the problem with the Carson Beck pick. I talked about that yesterday. The value that they got, the value that they lost with Carson Beck. In
absolutely.
the 3rd round, you can get a receiver that can contribute this year on the field. Or anybody.
Anybody, yeah.
In the 3rd round, you expect them. They're not going to be starters generally, but they're guys that'll come in and fill a roster spot and
they can impact you this season. There is no way
they wasted it on
Carson Beck ain't impacting this 2026 Cardinals team.
Well,
if he's even playing, that means that your season is garbage.
You want to hear my take on this now?
What's that?
Well, first of all, any other Cardinals draft excitement besides that's just the guys you're happy about?
Any other what now?
For the Cardinals?
For the Cardinals? Sorry, absolutely not. I mean, look, I hear a lot about Caleb Proctor, but I don't know anything about the kid. He played at Southeast Louisiana. I mean, I just don't have it.
My rule is after the Keim picks, my rule is, man, unless it's a big school, don't even look at them. And they went and drafted a kid from Southeast something.
Yeah, and then their 6th and 7th round picks, I know virtually nothing about.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what I mean.
and so but again, I only look at picks 1, 2, and 5 as players who will impact the Cardinals.
All right, Carson Beck, you want to hear my theory on this?
Let's hear your theory.
Now, keep in mind, the guy I'm about to talk about, I know is a first-round pick. We know what Jacoby Brissett is. And I said on Friday on the draft, because there was a rumor, I texted you this, that ESPN had a mock draft for Carson Beck was going to go in that 2nd round of the Cardinals. And here on air, I went, he'll be there in the 3rd round. He'll be there later than that. Why would you do that in the 2nd round? And then I started thinking about it a little bit more. To me, there is a direct line and a blueprint on a quarterback like Carson Beck. Go back to the Cardinals pre-draft press conference where Monty was talking about we want a kid from a big school, a kid with a lot of success, a kid that played in big moments with a lot of talent around him. Everybody thought they were talking about Ty Simpson. If there's another guy that fills that conversation, it's definitely Carson Beck. Now, he was a backup there to Stetson Bennett at Georgia when they were winning those championships. But he was on the program, obviously big movement, moved it over to Miami and stuff like that. You get a kid, and you draft a kid that fits into your system. To me, Carson Beck fits into the system. He would fit into the Rams system. He'll fit into the LaFleur system with the Cardinals. They drafted Carson Beck, and I have a feeling they're going to do what the Broncos did with Bo Nix. He might not start to begin the season, but he'll be starting the season here. Because you know what Jacoby Brissett is. You know what Gardner Minshew is. You get a kid that can come into here, has played in tough, tight games, can throw the ball pinpoint, is smart, can learn the offense. He showed that when he went to Miami. You have the blueprint of a young guy to come in, might not be like absolutely successful, but can run an offense. The difference between the Broncos and the Cardinals is Broncos have a world-class defense. On the other side, Cardinals, not so much. You could see the blueprint of Bo Nix of the Broncos with Carson Beck here in the Cardinals going into this year. That's my take on it yesterday. I came here, thought about it all day Sunday. You could see that blueprint. I expect Carson Beck to get some playing time this year, see what he can do with this offense, especially this with Jeremiah Love coming in. Carson Beck is going to have an opportunity this year at some point to show he can run this offense. Boom. Blueprint like Bo Nix. What do you think?
Well, here's my problem with Carson Beck. You know, he was a starter at Georgia, got injured, and then got Wally pipped by Stetson Bennett. So he's sitting on the bench watching Bennett lead the Bulldogs to glory.
Championships.
So he transfers to Miami. He's now
Bennett left. He played a year at Georgia, and then left Georgia and moved on.
Well, yeah, he transfers to after he watched Bennett do his thing.
Yes.
So now he's at Miami.
Yes.
And look, I didn't expect Miami to be in the national championship game. Not at all.
Nobody did.
But Carson Beck did nothing at Miami that just wowed me. You know, I look at him. You know, he's almost like a Brock Purdy from this standpoint, in that he is well prepared. He's a student of the game. He studies the game extremely well. But unlike Brock Purdy, he does not have it. Look. If you're going to be a quarterback that has, marginal skill set, doesn't have anything that, you don't have that great arm, that great athleticism, something like that, but you're a student of the game, you better have some of that it. And I'm telling you, I've watched Beck come up short in big moments.
Just like Bo Nix did. In the SEC and then at Oregon.
Yeah.
Same trajectory, Coop. This is what I'm sure. I'm not saying Carson Beck's the guy. I'm not even sure Bo Nix is, right? Just that defense is so good there. Same situation. SEC for Bo Nix, goes to Oregon, falls short constantly. But 24-3 at Georgia for Carson Beck. Regardless of what you want to say, 24-3 starting.
Well, didn't you just tell me that the Denver Broncos had a great defense?
Yeah, that's the problem. That's where the difference leads.
Then the Georgia Bulldogs have one. Shoot, they're having like 6 and 7 guys drafted in the first round.
And I know I'm talking about a 12th pick here with Bo Nix compared. But what happened? A coach that you expect good things of, Sean Payton, came in and said, "Okay, everybody got on him for drafting him too. Remember that. Hey, this kid can come run my offense," and he's had success. Now, it hasn't been perfect, but he's had success there. I'm not saying it's going to work out the same. I'm saying I see a trajectory here of this year, because you said Carson Beck isn't going to get an opportunity and help the Cardinals this year. I think Carson Beck is going to get a very good opportunity this fall to run this team and show what he can do.
Wow. I don't see it.
You're going to stick with what you know on and funny, before the draft, I was saying Carson Beck's kind of like a Jacoby Brissett. He'll get opportunities to start in the league, but he's going to be a career backup. Yeah. And I equivalent to him. And I just think if the Cardinals start 1-5, 1-6, aren't you throwing Carson Beck out there to see if he can run this offense for a year? Come on,
why?
Dude. Get on my bandwagon, man. Get on my bandwagon. I knew you were gonna.
I'm just not. Look. I'm just so disappointed that they did not use that 3rd round pick to get someone that can really impact it. Look.
There's some really good guys in that.
So let's look at the Rams. The Rams take Ty Simpson, who's not going to play at all unless
it's behind Stetson Bennett.
Matthew Stafford gets hurt.
But he might not even play then, because Stetson Bennett's been there for 2 years.
Okay, sure. Okay, okay, good point. But. They are a Super Bowl caliber or contending team. So they don't need to. So you ask yourself, is there anyone at 13, because they had 13th overall pick in the first round, is there anyone at 13 that we would draft that would come in and be better than what we already have, or make us better? You can make that argument that they can, there is someone. Well, they can counter and say, well, look, there is one team in the National Football League that isn't trying for the last 20, 30 years to find their next franchise quarterback. That's the Green Bay Packers. They can go from Brett Favre
Yes.
to Aaron Rodgers
Well, they
to Jordan Love.
they draft their replacement 4 or 5 years before.
Absolutely. So now people are gonna go back and say, well, gee, Jordan Love, who you drafted, and you still have the great Aaron Rodgers. That pick now looks pretty good. I think that's what the Rams are looking at. They're saying,
Well-
look, people are saying that, yeah, we could have got somebody at 13 to help us now, but let's roll this thing forward. Because
Well-
this guy he ain't playing ahead of Matthew Stafford.
I think the other thing on the Ty Simpson pick on the Rams that people are missing is the Rams don't pick at 13 very often.
No.
And the only reason they are this year is they got that from, I think, the Falcons, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So next year, they're picking in the 20s. They're not getting one of these high prolific quarterbacks next year that are coming out.
Yeah.
So they needed to
So-
pull the trigger this year if they really liked the guy going forward.
I think that's been a good general manager. Now if the Rams were a team like the Cardinals, or
they'd be
the
roasted.
Cleveland Browns or the Jets,
Yeah.
no, you got to take somebody that can help you
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. I don't know. I just the pick of the more I think about the pick of, and keep in mind I'm a big Carson Beck college guy. I've liked him in college and stuff. Type of thing. But maybe I'm biased by that. But there's no excitement going into the season with Jacoby Brissett and Gardner Minshew, and I like both of them. but there's no excitement going into the season.
But there
with
isn't.
them.
So that was my whole point when I've been here before. I told you guys I'm not getting rid of Kyler Murray unless
I
I
agree.
have someone better.
You've downgraded your
I'm
quarterback.
I'm pulling the Green Bay Packers. I'm not getting rid of Aaron Rodgers
Mm-hmm.
until I have someone I think on board that can do something
Yeah.
for me.
Hey, really quick as we wrap up here, Diamondbacks. They went down to Mexico, split the series with the Padres. Big comeback. Tawa got a grand slam on that Sunday one, but they came out with a bunch of injuries in this, right? ADC hurt a finger. We don't know his status. At least I haven't seen an update on his status yet this morning. As well, Perdomo's ankle. He left the game on Saturday. Gallen taking the ball off his shoulder. They say they think he'll be able to do his next start out there as well. Now the Padres obviously as a team, they're chasing in this division. They're probably going to chase for a while in this division from that side. But how do you think that Mexico trip went?
Well, look, I thought the bullpen blew it for him in the opening game. I'm like, darn. And then they're down 7-1, and I'm like, this thing is over, dude. I'll be honest. I even started paying. I had two. I only have two screens in my my man cave. So I actually, when the Diamondbacks fell behind 7-1, I actually replaced them with another game, And so I'm watching an NBA game and a couple of NBA games.
You quitter.
Yeah, and then
I went to the movies. As I'm driving to the movies was when the comeback started. And then I went in. I had no idea Tawa hit it. So I went into the movies. And then I came out and was like, wait, what just happened? They won this?
Yeah, dude,
So I'm with you.
I'm reading the bottom line. Reading the bottom line. I see the Diamondbacks were up 8-7. I said, what? So I switched them back on, and so now I'm watching. But I'll tell you what, dude, Jose Fernandez. I know that Ildemaro Vargas is eating up a lot of accolades right now, and
old man.
deservedly so. But this 22-year-old kid,
Yeah, he needs to be in every lineup.
dude, I'm telling you, I mean, he's something special. And now,
I agree.
now I find myself saying, do I really want Nolan Arenado right now? Because look, either he's going to play third base or he's going to play shortstop, and Perdomo will switch to third.
But he's playing first too, though.
Hey, well,
I'd rather have him at
well,
first than Santana.
Well, right now, Ildemaro is playing some pretty good first. But
I agree
I
with
hear
that.
what you're saying. I hear, but if I have to get rid of one of those two veterans, you're right. It would be Santana.
But at the same time, with Perdomo's ankle injury now, that's the nice thing about it. You can literally rotate him and be like, all right, kid, go play here.
Dude,
Go play here.
was-
And he's like, okay.
Dude, I was watching that game, and they even showed replays. Dude, I don't see where Perdomo turned his ankle. What he did do was he booted a potential double play
I watched
that
that.
opened that inning up big time.
I watched that replay like 70 times. Because we have the editing software. I pull it. I didn't see him move his ankle left or right or anything. But we don't know. It's Mexico City. I'm not saying their field sucked or anything like that. but we don't know if there was a hole or something that he hit maybe earlier, and then that's where it manifested. But it did seem weird he got hurt on the play where he booted it. I agree with you on that because it wasn't like you saw his ankle turn and he went down or anything to that effect.
That's what you look for.
I agree with you on that, but I'm not questioning Perdomo. He's the type, and he's starting to hit now as well as he moved to the leadoff there, of course, with oh my gosh. He moved him to the leadoff over Marte there. Last couple of times as well. So they got Milwaukee now coming up.
And look.
Merrill Kelly on the mound tonight. They finally updated. As of Showtime today, they had nobody for the next 4 games listed as Merrill Kelly start on the Diamondbacks website on starting pitchers for the next 4 games.
You know what's really beginning to get alarming? You know how we were talking about how the Diamondbacks starting pitching had been superb? All of a sudden, out of that White Sox series, I mean, they're just getting lit. It seems like every starter gets lit up. Now Gallen was pitching pretty well, but he got a hit and had to leave the game. Yeah. But every other starter is just getting lit up. Even Soroka.
2 innings, 2 runs in the first inning, 4 runs in the first inning, 8 runs in the first inning. With 1 out. Yeah, it's alarming how they're starting these games, and then they settle down. If they stay in the game, they're settling down as the game goes on. Merrill Kelly in his last start gave up runs there in the first inning, and then settled down afterwards. I find that fascinating. When that happens in base, if it's one guy not ready to pitch. If it's 3 or 4 of your starters, there's something going on, isn't there? That's how I take it. Is that not the case?
Yeah, look, we were on this show. It just seemed like a couple of weeks ago. We were lauding the Sorokas and the the Erods. I mean, and we're saying, wow, this is, and so we're trying to figure out, dang, everyone's pitching so well with Kelly coming back. Who's going to the bullpen? Yeah. Well, it turned out to be Font,
and then he's sucking in the bullpen.
But it seems like since Kelly's come back, I don't know if there's any, maybe it's a coincidence, but it seems like the staff now collectively.
Well, Merrill Kelly was terrible in his second outing, his last time out. Today's his third one here as he goes up against Milwaukee tonight. 440 here coming up. But it is weird, right? It is weird how these cycles happen. I'm just going to blame it on, look, it's not easy getting to Mexico City. It's a long flight. Yes, they had a day off to get down there. Yes, they had a day off to come back. But then to go all the way to Milwaukee on top of it.
Yeah.
I'm just blaming on that. Here's the other side of it. When you go to do those international games, all of a sudden, you're not just going to the ballpark, hanging out, a couple media people. You have all these media obligations. You have everything changes on you. Those can be big distractions out there. Yeah. So I'm going to blame it on that, and hopefully I'm right.
Yeah. Hopefully. Well, I tell you what, the Diamondbacks, I was shocked. I said, wow, this is going to be a second consecutive series that they have lost because they blew the White Sox series, but then they came back and they had that miracle rally and they won the darn game. And so
against a team, by the way, that does not blow saves in the Padres on that second game,
Yeah. So as we sit here today, the Diamondbacks have only lost 2 series thus far.
Yeah. Once against the Dodgers and one against the White Sox, just like we had it, right, Coop? Now you got Milwaukee for 3, Chicago Cubs for 3.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. They're also day games. So you have a 4:40 p.m. start our time tonight, 4:40 tomorrow. That's a day game there in Milwaukee, 10:40 a.m. I guess you have to you have a big travel day down to Chicago for an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's not
drive down there.
It's like a 90-minute drive, right?
Yeah, it's not very long. I used to drive it all the time. 90-minute drive there. But then on this weekend, the Cubs, 11:20 a.m. our time. Their first game. Second game, 11:20 our time. And then, of course, Sunday, 11:20 our time. Lots of day games coming up for a team that doesn't play a lot of day games. Yeah. That worries me a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's put it to you like this: sometimes if you're playing enough of these young kids, sometimes these young kids are just excited to play and don't know any better, and they perform above what you.
And you just brought that up, like Marte, Perdomo. Who's running this team right now? Vargas, Fernandez.
Yeah.
Fernando. Gosh, I just completely dropped the name. Fernandez. Where are the guys we were expecting to count on at the plate and things to that effect? Where are they?
Yeah.
It's these young guys driving us right, which is good. That's a sign of a good team when the young guys step up and the veterans are struggling and vice versa. But But that is a little alarming to me as well that these young guys and the big guys you're counting on aren't there right now.
Yeah,
and it's
this
a little
Fernandez,
alarming.
he just hits, man. I mean, the dude just hits. Even in the club, were you watching the? I know you're watching the Padres series.
Mm-hmm.
This dude comes up 2 on, 2 out, and he comes up with a big gapper
That
that
doesn't even
drives
faze
home
him.
to. I mean, it's
It
like
looks like a 15-year and Major League Baseball veteran out there. Have you ever seen him? I'm gonna use the word panic. Have you ever seen him flustered out there?
No,
A lot of young
no,
guys, have the big
no.
eyes. They're just like, where am I at?
no.
And even going down to Mexico City, Alec Thomas, who hit that home run, kind of woke up there in game one. Hopefully he can keep that rolling. But even Alec Thomas down there was all wide-eyed, playing for his home country and things. But Fernandez just goes out there and he's like, yeah, I belong here. Let's do this.
Yeah.
It's amazing to watch him play. He should be in every lineup. I don't care who you have to sit. Sit Marte if you have to. I don't care who you have to sit. Just sit him. He needs to be in the lineup.
But next guy I want the Diamondbacks to bring up, Gino Groover.
I think
This dude just hits.
yeah. I think unless there's injuries, which hopefully there's not, knock on wood, I think we're going to start seeing some of these young relievers starting to come up a little bit is the next trend we're going to see. Maybe, especially if Brandon Pfaadt continues to give up four earned runs in his his one inning of thing. I think we're going to start to see a run of these young guys. There's that one kid, I don't remember his name because I forget their names, that we got in the trade here recently. I think he's the Blaze Alexander trade. He went down to AAA. I think he's going to be coming up here soon. He's dominating. Trey Jameson's struggling down there in the minor leagues.
Oh, so the kid we got from the Blaze Alexander deal with the Orioles is pitching pretty good?
Pitching really well.
Wow,
yeah.
okay.
I saw a stat the other day where they're like, just like we had it, Trey Jameson has like a 10 ERA or something in the minors, and that kid has like a 1 or 2, or maybe a .98 or something ridiculous like that. So I think we're going to start seeing some of those young reliever guys come in and to spare, to spare some of these veteran guys that are getting a lot of innings on their arms here in the first month. So hopefully now, otherwise it'll be bats if injuries continue to happen out there and whatnot. I mean, Gurriel's got to wake up. Was he 1 for 30 in his since he's come back from the injured list?
Yeah. Look, I like Barossa. Barossa
like
is
him a lot.
This kid. You're talking about a guy that's not afraid. Switch hitter, comes up with big hits,
Yeah.
both sides of the plate. Stellar defense.
Yeah.
I'm all about making a trade and getting rid of a Gurriel.
Last thing for you here, because you bring up that point, because I talk about these young kids are coming up to this team and playing better than the veterans you're counting on. Like Barossa's coming up, Fernandez we've talked about. Things like, does that say anything about the major league roster when these guys are coming up ready to play and they're coming up and making impacts right off the bat and the veteran guys?
I think what you have to do is you have to say, well, the Diamondbacks, they now have a farm system that is akin to like the Braves or the Dodgers. I mean, that's all you really want.
Yeah.
When you can start developing players at a high rate and guys that can come in and they're seamless. And matter of fact, in many cases that we're talking about, they're playing better than the veterans.
Yeah, that's what's shocking me right now. It's not just one series or one game of young guys. They're consistently outplaying the veterans.
Yeah.
And you can go to Arenado on third base. Santana, when he was in there, was definitely the case. But you can even go to Perdomo, at least at the plate side of things early in this season. Perdomo was struggling there. And then you got Gurriel now, 1 for 30, outfielders there, and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'm trying to put my finger on it. It's good that they're coming up and just seamlessly going in. But also, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out if it says something about the guys that are up here.
Yeah. Look, tip of the hat to the Hazen and that staff. They're doing a good job scouting and drafting,
especially on the trades. That's the amazing thing is these trades for the most part. Last year there was a couple duds that that first baseman they traded for Suarez just didn't have it last year and was given every opportunity. So there are some duds, but overall they're bringing these guys up. So you're absolutely right. Bruce, what are you doing the rest of the week?
Gee, good question. What am I doing the rest of the week?
Life of a retired guy, folks, is what we're dealing with. Now your wife's done for the most part. She works over there with the Suns.
Yeah. Her season came to an end just like the Suns' season came to an end.
abrupt ending.
Yeah.
So yeah, now she's gonna be home more now. So don't irritate her.
Yeah,
Keep her-
she was already telling me that there was a movie that she wants to go see, and was it? I think was it Michael? Is it
Michael Jackson one? Yep,
Yeah,
that came out last week.
Yeah, she said she wants to go see that. So I already know that. So that's part of what I got to do this
That'll
week.
be fun. Actually, I want to go see that. I heard it was approved by the Jackson family, so it's going to be nothing but just rainbows and sunshine. Nothing controversial.
Yeah.
But I don't care if it's just his music and stuff. I think.
Well,
that'll be
if
fantastic.
they're going to tell his life story, I mean, I'd like to.
It's from
see that.
it's from the Jackson 5 up until
I don't. I'm hearing it, but I don't really know anything about it. But
yeah,
she
his
said she
nephew plays him.
Oh, really?
Spitting Image, man. His
Is that
nephew
right?
Yeah, I think it's Tito's kid. Yeah.
Is that right? Okay. Well,
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Let me know how that is. Text me after you see it. 'Cause I want to go see it. I went and saw. We were behind on our movies. Me and the kids and Autumn and her daughter went and saw the Mario movie, Galaxy whatever.
Oh, okay.
Whatever that movie was. It was pretty entertaining. I enjoyed it. It made me laugh a little bit. As we went and saw that last weekend and stuff. But all right, Coop, we'll go have fun with that. Everybody else, we'll see you tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock. Don't forget, tomorrow we'll be here at 8. I'm going to end the show a little bit early tomorrow because I've got a little celebration thing to go to over at the high school here coming up. So we'll be here from 8 to 9, though, so come and join us tomorrow as well. See you, everybody.